y'all make sure y'all share this video and make sure y'all subscribe to All Viral Access Media. You know the vibes.
They thought we forgot, but we never forget. This one's for the rules. We built this land from dust and tears, 400 years, and we still here. They write new rules, but they don't see. Every freedom they got came off you and me. We planted seeds, they took the bloom. We lit the flame, they left the room. But we back now, know the sky. The spirit's woke, we realize all we want is what we earn. That sweat and blood, yeah, that table turn. You can't buy culture, can't fake that fight. This is our day, this is our ride. We happy. Say it loud, say it strong. We the heartbeat that's been here all along. Foundational Black Americans, stand tall. We ain't begging for nothing, we built that all. Born from pain and grace, you can see the truth written in our face. We the soul, the sound, to fight the flame. Foundational Black Americans, say our name. They love our rhythm, but they dodge our blues. Use our voice when it fits their news. They take our sound, but not our scars. We the backbone, we the scars. Now the veil is gone, the mask is clear. We see the game, we know what's here. No more silence, no more lies. We lift that flag and watch it rise. Rise up. We the ones that made this nation breathe. Our pain turned to power. Our roots are trees. We know world. It's rhythm and grace now, and now we reclaiming our rightful place. Can't copy courage, can't steal pain. You can't inherit soul by changing names. Our story ain't done, it's the revival. We guard the gate, it's about survival. We FBA, say it proud, say it loud. The world dances on what we vow. Foundational Black Americans, still we stand, still we fight, still we demand. Every block, every song, we've been right here all along. The soul of a people strong and free. Foundational Black Americans. We the first, we the rule, we the fire. Still rising, still here. Foundational Black American.
Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk Worldview. For generations, foundational Black Americans have helped build and shape the United States through resilience, innovation, and institution building. From establishing thriving towns after the Civil War to advancing education, business, and governance, this history is both deep and documented. Understanding lineage is essential because when you know who built the foundation, you better understand of the nation. This is more than history. It is legacy in motion. Welcome to another episode of Thorough Black Talk. I hope you all are ready tonight. It's going to be a hot and heavy one. A lot has transpired today, as which Sister Brooke and Brother Divine will elaborate more on while I calm my heart down, because I am deeply disturbed. I am deeply disturbed of recent events. So, without further ado, welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. Brother Tad, are you ready? Brother Tad from the OG Wisdom Podcast, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Brother, what's happening?
Hootie hoo! Yeah, how you feeling, sis?
Good. I'm trying to
Oh
calm
man,
the blood pressure down.
yeah.
It was
What
a hot
got you upset?
one.
I saw Sister Brooke on Noel Phillips earlier. With whoever that Selena person is, and I'm just like, wow. You know, I was tapped in, dipped out. Oh man, sis. Shout
It's
out to
crazy.
everybody in the chat too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Holding it
yeah,
down,
yeah.
holding us down. Y'all
Shout
are
out
one of the
to
most
everybody.
sophisticated audiences out here, and we definitely appreciate y'all for rocking out with us. This ain't for the faint of heart. This ain't for the idiotic ignorance. This is for the real thinkers, the real ones. It ain't
That's
too
right.
many of us left, so we got to unify, y'all. We got to stick together because the craziness is crazy, sis. Like, I don't know if you checked out Deontay Kyle switching his rhythm of the position on FBA now. First he was trying to diss us, now he want to kiss us. And
Yes,
I think because the young queen, Dr. King's daughter, Bernice King, let her position be known about being FBA and in opposition to that dude. Shabuzi is his name. Letting it be known, like, nah, you're not gonna play with our heritage in so many words, you know, because we see them trying to hijack Black History Month now. Like, come on, G. Come on, G. But they gonna find out the hard way. They say mess around and find out.
Like my grandmother used to say, either you listen or you will feel.
That's right. Hard head make a soft one. You know, but sis, one thing about you and I that some people may not know, we've been working together for at least a decade. Together. And longer than that in the movement. And I don't know how you and I do it, but we always shift at the same time without even having real conversations about it. We just pivot. Like I don't know if it's the Brooklyn in us where we feel the temperature and the climate. Like, we got to switch gears with this. Because people question, like, yo, y'all was hard Pan-Africans. Y'all was putting it together. You think we was hosting events with some of the big names of the master teachers and things like that. Like we was working with people from the continent and around the diaspora. But at the same time, you and I felt the chill. We felt it like, yo, these people ain't really respecting our handle like they supposed to because the little sly comments, just because we was on our African Senate Square. You know what I'm saying? So they think like, whoa. And I'll never forget, at King Simon's event, Code of Conduct, we had Irritated Genie there, Professor Griff, you and I spoke. I forgot who else was speaking. We had a lot of people. Yeah.
Smalls was there.
Right. The one thing, Professor Smalls, but the one thing we kept telling people is, man, it's good to know this history, but study your own family. Learn who your ancestors are. We was on it back then, and I don't know if it went over people's head, and we wasn't even on that quote unquote FBA time at the time, but we knew we had value in what we developed and built here and within our own family. Because, you know, I'll be the first one to say, ain't nobody live my life. We making Black history every day. And with FBA standing on our square like we doing around the country, got Roland Martin switching gears now. And that's the thing I see amongst the community. Like, people don't think for themselves. It's always what somebody else say. Because had you and I said FBA, Roland Martin have a problem. He had a problem with it. But now that Bernice King says it, and he honor and respects her, now he want to switch his tone. Same thing with Deontay. I don't even know where this chubby checker mulatto come from. But here it is. This is how you get lit. You got to do something outlandish. You got to do something sensational. The shock value of it all. Not real substantial, sustainable value, but do something to get the people looking. Like screen fire in the movie theater. That's how you get the attention. And that's what these dudes are doing. Just to get their numbers up, just to get lit. You and I, with the OG podcast, with Thorough Black Talk, we the slow burn. We don't care about how many people look, as long as you get the information. Cause see, the shit we cooking up, this the real tendonism. Cause by the time you get it, it's gonna fall off the bone. Like we fell off the Pan-African, it's This FBA movement gonna make a fall off the bone because we the slow burn. Now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna pass. I like what FTW Lube said. LT Lube. FTWL Tube said he's a garbage pail kid. That's exactly what he looks like. I kid you not. He does look like a garbage pail kid. But what I was saying about the slow burn, right, since I'm going to pass the mic. The first time I tried to make fried chicken, I turned the grease up real hot. Way high. Dropped the chicken in. Oh, it was crispy and golden on the outside. That shit was looking good. As soon as I stuck the fork, it started bleeding everywhere. Like the first 48, like a massacre. And that's what a lot of these people are doing. The microwave information. They don't have real resumes. And the people on the other side, black folks on the other side of FBA, who's anti-FBA, it's just because they slow learners. I don't care about their degrees. I don't care about what they done in the hood. Because one thing I realized, our generation, we Gen Xers, right? A lot of this information you and I got, we learned in the 80s and 90s from people who was operating from a manual from the 50s and 60s, written by people back in the 1920s. It's a new day and age, new millennium. Come on, man. Let's update this information. Let's get off this antiquated stuff, man. And with that, I yield, sis. Because I know we got guests and company coming. Where Brother Black? Did the spaceship land yet?
The spaceship ain't landing from the Bronx yet. Sister Marcia trying to work out her kinks behind the scenes. But, you know, shout outs real quick. Big Russ, what's happening? Philly in the building. Our sister Farnessa, always on the check-in. Aruba 927, Doggy Diamond TV Mods. What's good, sis? What's good? Suffolk County, Brother Monty and Sister Joyce. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Sister Tanisha, our usual suspect. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It's that RA19998. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Welcome to Thorough Black Talk. We about to get into it. We about to get into it. Yes, indeed. What's that? Y and C and Simbo? Am I saying it right? Could be wrong.
YVOC Info 3381.
Thank you for rocking out. Thank you for rocking out. Uncle Jess, Aunt Marie, Brownsville Finest.
Yeah.
Only on the check-in. It's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be heavy tonight. We got a lot of history to get through. Not only we got a lot of history to get through, but Sister Brooke, Brother Divine, I was listening in the background on a panel, and I tell you, boy, the disrespect, the disingenuousness, the vile behavior as it relates to foundational Black Americans. And one thing I too can say about us, Brother Tad.
Yes.
We are not so big and bad that we can't fall back and listen to our young folks and let them teach us.
That's a fact.
And that's why I make sure that Sister Brooke, my boyfriend New York in the building, was happening.
Shout out to New York. Oh boy. Oh boy. If y'all don't watch OG Wisdom, New York be like the comic relief. We be talking dead serious, and he got jokes on us all the time. He be killing me and Gutter.
Oh God!
Shout out to Brother Fat. Ray.
Sister Fat, thanks for rocking out with us. UAM Finest in the building. Brother Ray and the BK Mackey History Club. If you missed Trust Graham last night, Brother Ray will let me know when the replay is up. And then I'll share it on the Facebook page. I'm going to tell you, Trust said something real good last night. Because, you know, when we in these spaces, I often hear, you know, when people say, well, melanated folks. And that comment always bothered me. It always bothered me. And last night, Trust confirmed, you know, why it always bothers me. Because everybody is melanated. White folks is melanated.
Say it again.
Hindus, Asians is albinos. But you know, I don't like using that comment. But anyway, We're going to get into it. Brother Black, you ready? Welcome to Bronx to the Brooklyn Bridge. Brother Black, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Where you at?
I'm right here. Where you at?
Preach, Brother Black.
Y'all hear me?
Dimension, brother. We need you here in the third dimension.
Oh, man. I got my mic on, so I hope y'all hear me.
We hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. Nice. Sister Keisha ain't saying nothing. She introduced me and then she stopped talking. She hit mute on me. I'm good, man. Everybody's good on this side. Just finished eating. And I'm listening to what y'all saying. Who's our guest tonight, Sister Keisha?
We got our brother Knowledge Born Allah coming in around.
I love when he come in. Yeah. That's
He'll
what's
be
up.
in later. So
I'm gonna be real quiet today. Ain't much of nothing really going on. It's about the Epstein files right now. Like I said, it's 3 million documents.
Yeah.
That's, or so they say. 2,000 videos and all kind of other infamous pictures and signatures on certain documentation. Something that didn't surprise me from the Epstein files, I'm sure you heard about it by now, is how in the early 2010s, how they was talking about setting off a pandemic so that they can kill a lot of people and get rid of people. The old Zionist plan of getting rid of 95% of the population and enslaving the rest. That stuff. And having 58 slaves, blah, blah, blah. I mean, of course, they weren't as obvious when they were writing each other emails, but when, looking at it from hindsight, it's 2020 at this point. Because they were talking about a pandemic they were going to start and how they were going to on a holistic level, have everybody invest so they get money every angle you look at it, from the hospitals to the ventilators to the masks, invest in this fund and that stock and, so on and so forth. So they had it cornered from the door. They had the whole thing cornered. This is rumor, and I'm sure y'all heard about it, but allegedly Kobe Bryant was involved in some of that stuff, and he probably wanted to tell us something, so they had to disappear him. I don't believe he's passed away. I think they put him away because he had invested in, I think, some mass stock. I don't remember right now, because I'm quoting from when he allegedly passed away a few years ago, as opposed to right now. So with that said, all of it is coming out. I've been telling y'all for years now that I believe most of the people who would be adverse to Trump's agenda is gone, or so locked up that nobody gonna get to them because they so far off, and so on and so forth. So I don't really got much to say other than that. The FBA movement continues, and more delineation as we speak. More evidence that somehow, some kind of way, reparations are coming. And
That's right.
continue the mission. And
That's
if you got any questions, I'll answer. Oh, check me out at melaninstitute.blogspot.com. I got a book that exposed the entertainment industry. It's called Boom Bye Bye, Hip Hop Will Never Die. My first book is called I Ain't Perfect, But Take It From Me. If you like my blogs, all it is a compilation of various articles and research that I've done over the years, compiled into a book as opposed to a one-off article. So with that said, I give it back to my sister, and let's go from there. Peace.
Thank you, Brother Black. Thank you. Let's get Sister Marcia, Africans on the Rise, up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening, sis? She's still trying to work out the kinks. So
Wing out.
We can't hear. So I'll let you continue to work it out. You got
to take the hat off. You got to take the hat off. The hat is interfering with the signal.
It's in the second dimension, so we can't hear you.
Unmute your mic. How about that part?
Just tell her to meet the Anunnaki on the roof. They got the signal on blast.
I'm gonna let her figure that out.
Unmute your mic.
No, we can't hear you, Marcia. and I can't do it from behind the scenes. So I'm gonna pull you out so you can try to figure it out on the back.
You need to make the wings into an antenna.
So let's get into it. Family.
Let's go.
As we continue to celebrate Black History Month, and for us, it's very, very important. And it should be for the entire country, because most of the modern conveniences that you use today, we created it. Not only did we create it, but we gave you a blueprint for winning wars in this country. And that's why the United States have been so successful in war, is because of our participation. So tonight, we're going to give an introduction of Carter G. Woodson and Rosetta Mother Gaston. And these two go hand in hand. Also, we're going to talk about one of the baddest men to come out of Mississippi. Someone I know you probably have heard of before, but we're going to get into it tonight. And also, the first tether. We're going to get into that too. While Sister Brooke and Brother Divine get it ready. Sister Brooke, you ready? Just let me know when you're ready. She ready. She hot. She's hot. Reparations activists, Sister Brooke up on the Brooklyn Bridge. What's happening, sis?
Well, I've been going at this for a few hours now, so I'm ready. I've been in the same spot.
I know you was hot, because
ready to go.
I was double hot when I was on the other side of the screen. And if I could have jumped through the screen and start kicking people in the throat, I would have, because it was that bad.
It was that bad. But I did a better job this time of keeping my cool. And so for that, I am proud, because last time I think I came in late and I came in pissed off already. But this time I knew, I got to do a better job. Like I had to remember my President Divine and Brother Dan be really working with me on my media training on trying to keep my cool and talking, without letting the Brooklyn out. And so I am proud of myself that I was able to do a better job of that this time.
They call it diplomacy.
Yes. I lack diplomacy sometimes, and that is something that Brother Divine is very, very good at, and so is Daniel. He's been on the program before as well, Daniel. So both of them on the back end be really, really trying to work with me on my diplomacy.
You know who else I think is good at that too?
Who?
Foundational. I think he's very good at that.
Which one is that?
On TikTok with the braids. You've heard him before.
Porty?
No, not that one.
Okay.
Foundational American.
Some of them got issues with me, so
that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But
I may not know who you're talking about. I blocked that person.
He has diplomacy in how he handles these tethers on his platforms.
So you, Sister Keisha?
No,
Sister Keisha, you for the show you do.
I do. I'm just talking about.
Yeah.
We just be stowing our younger folks here. But anyway, and I'm proud of you for holding it down the way that you did.
Thank you.
Because every one of them deserved to be punched in the throat.
Now, come on now, every single one, and they just kept on lying, and you know how I get when people start lying. That really gets my goat when people start lying. I don't like the lies. So I was able to compose myself even in the face of the lies.
Yes. But we're gonna get into all of that later. We're gonna let y'all know what happened in a few minutes. So, Carter G. Woodson and Mother Gaston.
I'm so excited about this.
Yes, Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history, traveled across the country to preserve and celebrate the achievements of foundational Black Americans. In Brooklyn, He connected with Rosetta Mother Gaston, a tireless community leader who dedicated her life to uplifting Black voices and educating young people. Though Woodson didn't live here, Mother Gaston brought his mission to life in Brooklyn, ensuring our history, our lineage, and our legacy will be remembered. A foundational Black American historian, author, and journalist, Carter Woodson was the founder of the Association for the Study of Afro-American Life and History. Mother Gaston, a foundational Black American community activist and Black history advocate from Brownsville. Brownsville, stand up.
Brownsville.
Never ran, never will. She organized local Black history study groups and later a Brooklyn chapter for the Association, the Study of Afro-American Life and History. Their relationship and connection, meeting and mutual respect, Mother Gaston met Carter Woodson in 1943. After this encounter, she established a chapter of that association that I mentioned and influenced Woodson's outreach work. According to congressional record, in tribute to Mother Gaston, she influenced him to bring Negro History Weeks. Okay?
Didn't know that.
And if you can, for those of you who are in New York, you can visit Mother Gaston Library in Brownsville, Brooklyn. So anyway.
Hey, Sister Keisha, before the next thing, real quick, can you let people that's not from New York know that the main street in Brownsville is named after her?
That's a fact.
I was getting to that. It's in the program. It's in the program. Thank you, Brother Black. And to start youth-oriented Negro history clubs nationwide, promoting grassroots engagement with Black American history. While Woodson was primarily the scholar and organizer, Gadsden's community drive and encouragement played a role in broadening the way Woodson's work was made accessible to ordinary people and youth groups. Their connection was rooted in a shared commitment to teaching and spreading awareness of Black American history. Woodson, through his scholarship and original leadership, and Mother Gaston through community study groups, local initiatives, and youth engagement, particularly in Brooklyn. How history remembers Mother Gaston. She became known as Mother Gaston for her nurturing role as an educator and community leader. Brooklyn streets and community centers have been named in her honor. Her grassroots work helped to anchor Black history education at a local level, complementing Woodson's national and scholarly efforts. So again, the Black man and the Black woman making it work. So when you talk about Negro History Week or Black History Month, you can't mention Carter Woodson without Mother Gaston. Okay? And all of that is because lineage, foundational Black Americans standing on business. Standing on business. So, Sister Brooke, I'll ask you, did you know about the connection between Woodson and Mother Gaston?
No. Now, I was curious a few years ago, and I was like, because Mother Gaston, that's a block. It's a street, okay? And so and I just wanted to know, who was this Mother Gaston? So I definitely researched her, but I did not know of her connection with Carter G. Woodson. So that's why I was like, oh, I'm excited to hear what you had to say, because I knew it was going to be something I didn't know already. And so I knew that she had done a lot of work in the community, and that's why they honored her the way they did. And so yeah, that's amazing. That, man, listen, you never cease to amaze me with the little known facts that you have filed away in that brain of yours. You know what I mean? So I appreciate learning that, because, like I said, Mother Gaston is a street that is not for the weak now. But it's good to know that it was founded on love. And maybe one day, not maybe, one day it will return to a neighborhood that's loving.
Yes, indeed. And if you ever get a chance, visit Mother Gaston Heritage House on that same street. When you get there, let the librarian know you know me, and she's very welcoming. She would love to have you all there. They have great artifacts. They have also traveling exhibits that are always there. So you can go there and check it out. If you have an event, you're looking for a space, they would love to host you. All you got to do is call and ask. So anyway, good thing to know about the two and how Negro History Week was established and started. So let's moving on down the line. We got a lot to discuss tonight. Lineage matters, foundational Black Americans standing on business. Now, in the outset, I said we're going to talk about a man who a lot of people don't know about, but should know about. Now, think about Mississippi in the 1800s. Hell, think about Mississippi now, okay? But Mississippi, in the 1800s, this Black man, Charles Caldwell, was a prominent Mississippi state senator and former enslaved blacksmith, recognized for a groundbreaking 1868 legal victory during the Reconstruction era. In 1868, acquitted for killing a white man, is widely cited as the first time in Mississippi history a Black man was legally found not guilty of such a charge by an all-white jury. Okay? Let's talk about this case a little bit. The incident following the 1868 Constitutional Convention, where Caldwell served as a delegate, he was attacked by possibly a deranged son of a highly respected white judge named Johnston. Caldwell, in self-defense, returned fire, killing the young man. In an unprecedented move, an all-white jury found Caldwell not guilty, a major, albeit temporary, demonstration of legal rights granted to freed people during Reconstruction. Significance: Caldwell famously noted that the trial was for the dignity of every man born in chains. Okay? He was about it. Let's talk about his political career and assassination. His public service: he was a leader in the Republican Party. Caldwell was known for being a fearless and a dead shot. That means he wouldn't budge on his principle. Okay? And a strong advocate for racial equality. He served as a delegate in the 1868 Constitutional Convention and later as Mississippi State Senator. The assassination: on Christmas Day, 1875, after a violent riot, Caldwell was lured into an ambush in Clinton, Mississippi by a man he thought was his friend. Final moments: after being shot in the back of the head, he reportedly told his assassin, "Remember, when you kill me, you kill a gentleman and a brave man. Never say you killed a coward." Caldwell's life is a testament to the brief period of political power and legal, albeit contested, equality experienced by foundational Black Americans in the South immediately following the Civil War. A former slave who rose to become a leading Republican in Hinds County and one of the county's state senators during Reconstruction, Charles embodied the radical changes that swept through the South in the aftermath of the Civil War. His assassination in the wake of 1875 Redemption Campaign exemplified the closing of many Reconstruction opportunities. Caldwell was born in Hinds County of a slave mother and a white father. By the time of the Civil War, Caldwell became a blacksmith in a relatively privileged position that afforded him more flexibility than most slaves had and left him well positioned to take full advantage of emancipation. In the immediate post-war period, Caldwell assumed a leadership position among Black Americans in the area of Clinton, 12 miles west of Jackson. Rewarded for his talents and persuasiveness, he was elected as one of the 16 Black American members of the 1868 Constitutional Convention, which set out to dismantle the antebellum social and political order. Caldwell took an active, if largely silent, role in the convention, generally voting with radical majority. Shortly after the convention's adjournment, an event involving Caldwell signaled the coming of a new order. Fired on, possibly by a deranged son of a respected white judge, Caldwell returned fire, killing this young man. He was tried for murder and acquitted, underscoring the legal rights that Reconstruction granted to free people. With the inauguration of the Republican power in the state, Caldwell became a member of Hinds County Board of Supervisors, a powerful position with tax and allocation powers. He forfeited this seat in 1871 to become the state senator, an office held until his death. Like most foundational Black American politicians, Caldwell aligned himself with the radical faction of the Republican Party, but he does not appear to have been dogmatic. Still, he remained a Republican stalwart, frequently offering advice and strategy on how to best preserve the party's dominant position. Let me just tell you, the Republicans were being pressured at that time by the Democrats because the Democrats said that they refused to vote for policies. So, Mr. Caldwell, he played a crucial role in this climatic 1875 campaign that effectively ended Reconstruction in Mississippi. When the violent tenure of the Democrats' effort became clear, radical Governor Albert Ames called up the state militia, placing Caldwell in charge of 2 companies based in Jackson. Caldwell marched his men from Jackson to Edwards Depot and delivered arms to another company there. The incident provoked fears of race war among the state's white population, and Ames was forced to broker an agreement that disbanded the militia in exchange for the Democratic pledges to campaign peacefully. So when people talk about it was easy, you see politicians today, some hold filibusters to avoid voting on a particular bill. But back then, they physically fought. And this is what is being described here. So in a letter to Ames, Caldwell and another leading Hinds County Republican sharply questioned Democrats' willingness to adhere to the agreement. So far as the democracy in a large portion of this county are concerned, the peace agreement is held in utter contempt, only to serve as a cover for the very wrongs upon which the freedom of this elected franchise, which it was intended to prevent. Ames either ignored such reports or felt he could do more to help the Republican cause. Deprived from any military support, Caldwell still managed to provide a forceful example for other Republicans in Clinton. On election day, when some of his Republican colleagues expressed a desire to heed to the Democrats, warning not to vote, Caldwell insisted that surrender was not an option. Because you have to remember, coming out of enslavement, Black people were on the ground running to build for themselves. So this man, taking no prisoners, he said, we can't concede. Not now. This ain't the time to do that. No, we are going straight. We want to stay right here. One ally quoted him, "You must just come right along and keep your mouth shut. I don't care what they say to you. Don't you say a word. Although Caldwell lost his Senate seat that day, he proved that no amount of Democratic intimidation would shake him from his political resolve. Think about today, all the pressure that the Democrats try to put on you. If you don't vote for us, you're going to get Trump. If you don't vote for us, this is going to happen. Scare tactics they still use today. Caldwell's powerful resistance to the Democrats helped explain his assassination a month and a half later after the election. Invited to have a drink with his friend at a basement of a Clinton grocery store, Caldwell was ambushed and shot several times. He died after his last request was granted. He was carried out into the street so that all could see that he remained defiant. Caldwell and other local leaders represented perhaps better than anyone else the opportunities that existed under Reconstruction for free people to develop a potent and responsible class of leaders. That so many influential blacks met the same in as Caldwell illuminates the violence on which the Democratic power ultimately rested. So again, fighting against this faction, the Democratic Party always said no Negro equality. And this man was like, nah, I'm in the heart of Mississippi. And if I can win here, we can win across this country. That was his ideal. Mississippi State Senator Charles Caldwell was assassinated by a mob of white men in Clinton, just west of the state capital in Jackson. The blacksmith had been one of 16 Black Republican delegates who participated in the 1868 Constitutional Convention, which wrote a constitution to integrate public schools, legalize interracial marriages, give the vote to all adult men, and ensure property rights regardless of race or gender. So when people say, y'all didn't sacrifice nothing, what have you done for us? You wouldn't have the right to vote if it wasn't for us. You like your little snow bunnies over there and your little milkmen over here? He made it so. If you wanted to have public education, in these other countries, they got to pay for schooling. You got public education here. Our brothers was always on the ground fighting. Mississippi voters, however, rejected the Constitution. An editorial on August 4th, 1875 issue of Hinds County Gazette called for the end of Republican rule, saying the time has come when it should be stopped peacefully, if possible, forcibly, if necessary. Okay? A month later, 2,000 Black Mississippians, along with 75 or so white allies, attended a Republican political rally and barbecue at an abandoned plantation outside Clinton. And when a former Union Army officer representing the governor began to speak, a group of 18 white men disrupted the rally. When Caldwell tried to intervene to keep the peace, gunfire erupted. The thing opened up just like lightning, and the shots rained in the air, just like rain from heaven, one witness said. 5 Black Mississippians, including 2 children, were killed. So were 3 white Mississippians. Dozens were wounded. More than 500 Black men fled to Jackson for protection of the Union Army, of the U.S. Army. But the KKK-like monarchs killed up to 50 Black Americans, vandalizing Caldwell's home, and killed several of his neighbors. A man he thought was his friend lured him for a Christmas drink. Caldwell told the mob, "Remember, you killed a gentleman and a brave man. Never can you say you killed a coward." So, just so everybody knows, we were always fighting. As Brooke always say, we are built on fighting, and we're going to continue to fight. So when I hear people say, well, y'all ain't going to get no reparations, that's because you come from a class of cowards. And we don't. We don't come from cowards. So I'm gonna land there. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any concerns? Let me get Brother Devon up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Welcome, brother, the U.S. Freedmen Project president. Up on
Hey,
the
President.
On the Brooklyn Bridge.
Peace, Brother Divine.
Man, peace and Sister Brooke, Brother Black, Brother Tad, and Big Sister Keish. What's good?
What it do, family?
You know what I'm saying? Oh, and Sister, is that Sister Marcia at the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
She look like she out in the wild. I'm not used to that background. What's going on over there?
Trying to get
Technical difficulties, making it work.
There you
She
go.
got too close to the sun and burnt her wings off.
Icarus. There you go.
So, any
Nicholas
questions?
had a nice journey.
Any questions about Charles Caldwell?
So he was he was in the, you said he was in the Senate?
Yes.
It's so interesting because so he was around that first round when it was like I think it was, if I remember correctly, right, 18. So it was about, was it like 400 black lawmakers at the time in all the college.
Oh, snap.
At the
Sorry
time.
about that. Sorry. Say that again, sis. I'm sorry.
I think it was about like, was it 400 that were in total at that time? I think that's something that people don't really realize. That, you know, when you have all the people saying, oh, I was the first black this and I'm the first black that. No.
Right.
We had a whole bunch. We had over 400 lawmakers in the southern states and at 1868. And so that is just
between 1868 and 1875.
There you go. And before the War of Reconstruction, that's what they call it, you know. And then that's when things changed and went backwards. So this is very interesting. I had just learned about Blanche Bruce.
Okay.
And so Blanche Bruce was the first something to do with the Treasury. I can't remember his exact title. I know I could find it for you. So he was also from Mississippi. So that means these guys had to be they were at the same time. So I find that really, really, I just love learning about these trail blazers that were in political office, and some of them right out of slavery. Yes. Not all of them were slaves, but a lot of them, it was like right out of slavery, 1865 emancipation. And then they're smart enough and intelligent enough and literate enough, because people try to play like we wasn't literate enough to be senators and the likes. And I just find that to be very, very interesting and myth busting.
Yes. When I first learned about Charles Caldwell, I learned about him from studying George Edwin Taylor, who was the first black man to run for president in 1901. So when I was studying George, I found out about Charles, right? And I forgot the name of the book that I had, but reading about him, and he would walk up and down the street. Let me see. I think. Is that somebody's off? But anyway, he would walk up and down the street and you would have, white people, going about their day or whatever. And he would ask them, what have you done for black people? What have you done for black people? We were enslaved to you for however many years. What have you done for us? And if you haven't done anything for us, and that's why it's so funny when I hear Brooke say, if you in my way, I'm going to mow you down. These are the things that he would say. And I thought it very befitting because, you always say that. So I wanted to connect a little dot with you and Brother Divine, that that you are in divine order and how you fight and how you move out here when it comes to reparations and everything that you're going to face, right? Because as we study our history, you have to take the good and the bad, right? And to see that this man was lured by a friend and assassinated, you know. And people always say, you know, why I'm the way that I am. I move alone because people will smile in your face and chuck it up with you and stab you in the back. Ask Brother Tad what happened when we said we dropping playing Africanism. And Tad, tell them all the people who came against us because we dropped. Gotta unmute, brother.
Oh yeah. A lot of people did, and it was crazy because, sis, it was really sideways though, you know, because nobody confronted us directly because they know they don't have the intellectual capacity nor the physical strength, because they know we Brooklyn, we take it there, you know. But it was very concerning because a lot of us know each other personally, and Brother Divine met one of the people at that little shindig. You know what I'm saying? People posture as brothers, but then, you know, and it hurts a little bit because it phrased the relationship based on political ideas and values, even though we really did community work in the community. But that's all right because that's people's loss. You know, they feel stupid. They'll find out in the long run. People thought this was a fad, and I'm like, how can our lineage be a fad? How can our bloodline be a fad? How can the movers and shakers of the world, pioneers of the culture, like, come on, you got Shabuzi now, like country music. Like, I ain't never listened to Shabuzi. I don't even listen to country music except the little bit that I hear when my black folks is playing. Like, you need to get up on it. You know what I'm saying? The Boots on the Ground song. What's the other dude? King George. You know what I'm saying? People be rocking. You know what I'm saying? Our folks be rocking our music because we're the pioneers of all of this. But it's disingenuous when the imitators try to act like they the innovators, particularly this month when people are trying to replace foundational Black Americans with themselves in Black History Month. Like, well, so if Black History Month was all about the continent and the diaspora, why y'all ain't do it over there? Why ain't do it over there? Stop it. Stop trying to get paid off what we made. Shout out to Carter G. Woodson and Mother Gaston. Because, you know, for those who don't live in New York, Mother Gaston is like MLK in your hood. It goes down on Mother Gaston.
It ain't for the faint at heart. It ain't for the faint at heart.
Word I was up, trying to be nice, but yeah, it goes down. So that's like the water.
But I was about to say, but you know what? For our folks in those hoods, it's a lot of genuine love. You know what I'm saying? If you fit in, you welcome with open arms. If you don't fit in, then don't even go around there without an escort and go in the daytime. You know, I used to hang out there at nighttime because what's that? Van Dyke on one side and Brownsville Projects on the other side. Then you still got and I'd be up in all them buildings.
See, the
scariest train station ever.
Yeah.
That is capping. The only place in New York that's super wild is the Bronx.
Yeah, right now, y'all trying to compete with Brownsville, but I think Brownsville still hold the crown.
I don't know if you call that wild or just crazy.
Yeah, Bronx is retarded because they got all them wild Latinos up there. That's what Brother Black. Shout out to Sister Tam in the house on the check-in. Peace to you, sis.
It was her birthday last week, right? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. That's for Sister Tam right there.
Our sis, Miss Tam Ray, who always hold us down in definitely helping organizing the community. She just real humble and modest about it. You know what I mean? But she definitely do a lot of work behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Definitely one of our jewels in the community. And I think, no, her husband from East New York. Tam used to be in Brownsville and East New York, hanging out there. But yeah, it's very disingenuous. But I'm really loving the momentum that's going on right now, and it's only getting started. So I just want the folks to fall back, stay out the way. You know, and I still want to hear about Sister
down.
Brooke and Brother Divine situations on TikTok.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into it right after this. For sure, for sure. But we gotta deal with the number one tether right here. We got to deal with it.
She
the
said
original
the first tether.
The first tether. We got to deal with it.
I'm so happy you about to get into this. Okay, yes.
Anthony Johnson, Virginia slave owner, the original tether. Birthplace, he was born in what later scholars identify as the Kingdom of Dongo, present-day Angola, Central Africa. This origin inferred from historical context, Angola was a major source of captives trafficked into the Atlantic slave trade under the Portuguese. All right. So this guy, I ain't got to read through all this. After coming from Angola, he's over there in the UK. Let me just read this part right here. He was taken from his homeland by Atlantic slave traders. While specific details of his capture are not in surviving European documents, the prevailing historical interpretation is that he was sold into the transatlantic slave trade before being transported to the English colony territory. So he left Africa by the Portuguese, ended up in the UK, right? He comes from the UK because you got to remember, at the beginning in 1621, when settlers here in the States called for Europeans to come over and they would get free property and they can settle land and all of that. So this guy, he arrived in the English colony of Virginia aboard the ship James. In colonial records, he is listed as Antonio the Negro. Later, the same man, later known as Anthony Johnson, was indentured to work under the contract for a Virginia planter named Edward Bennett. Okay? During the coordinated Padawan attack against the English settlement known as the 1622 massacre, he survived when most laborers and colonists on Bennett's plantation were killed. He was only one of a few that survived, right? A Black woman later identified as Mary arrived in Virginia aboard the ship Margaret. She was placed on the same plantation and then later becoming his lifelong partner. In 1635, completion of the indentured and freedom, Antonio and Mary completed their terms of indentured servitude, secured their freedom, and he adopted the name Anthony Johnson, which most people who were enslaved changed their names once they got freedom. Right? So that's common. Anthony Johnson obtained 250 acres of land in Northampton County, VA, under the colonial head right system, reflecting his status as a free landowner. Johnson was involved in a prominent court case in which the Virginia court ruled that a Black indentured laborer, John Kaser, was bound to serve Johnson for life. This dude had white slaves and Black slaves. In this case, historically significant because it represents one of the earliest legal precedents related to lifelong servitude and chattel slavery in the English colonies. In 1660s, he moved to Maryland. Some historical accounts note that Johnson and his family established a presence in Maryland in 1660s, where family members later continued farming. In 1670, he passes away. After his death, the Virginia colony courts later challenged the family's land ownership on racial and citizenship grounds. So they ended up losing everything afterward. But this guy from the UK, the African from the UK, came to the US, served, it was 7 years, indentured servitude. He gets land and has slaves that, you know, he said they were indentured servants, but he wanted to keep them there for life. And so one of the indentured servants, the white guy, took him to court. And that's what that case was about. Go ahead, bro.
So I have a question, and then I have some comments. The question is, so the case that he brought against, that was the person that was in question that was going to be the servant for life. That was a white man.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is really interesting because this clip is going around on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
from Dr. Claude Anderson explaining that the first person to go to court to get someone enslaved for life was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not. But the clip, because it's a clip, it doesn't go into this black man's history
Mm-hmm.
Of where he came from and why he would do something like that and how he othered himself
Mm-hmm.
on this land. Like he didn't see himself as an American, like he is, something else that it has come here. And I think that is a very like you always say, you can't look at these things in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at the entire context. And I also find it very interesting is that the very same thing that he fought for turned around and kicked him in the butt in the end, kicked his not ancestors, but kicked his descendants in the butt, because now they lost everything because they used that precedence to now switch it over to race.
Right.
So I find this very, very fascinating. And I shut up.
That was the first case, right? There were 6 cases brought against him of people of him.
Okay.
So you have blacks indentures who also sued him as well, but this was the first case, right? He had 6 cases against him that I found in the public record. 6 cases, right? And all of them, he like swindled them. You know what I mean? And he had overseers who, of course, went out and got them when 2 of them escaped. It was 2 females, Lolly, and I can't remember the other one. Dang it. Anyway, they escaped and they went to Florida, because you have to remember Florida was free territory at that time. And he had them captured and they fought in the courts. And I think, I'm trying to remember the other person's name, but she actually also attained her freedom in that case. Lolly, and it'll come to me. But yeah, there were several cases brought against Anthony Johnson. So I just wanted y'all to know who the original tether was.
Well, hold on, sis. You said, and he swindled the folks too? Out of their freedom?
Because he told them that they would work in indentured servitude from 7 to 10 years, right? But once those years was up, you ain't leaving. That's what he said.
So hold on. Not only was he a tether, he was a scammer too. It's all making sense. It's all making sense now. Okay, now we okay. In the spirit of the
maybe he was really from Somalia.
Black is a troublemaker. Yeah.
Black
it all
said
makes
that we
sense
did
now.
it.
But it's
Hey,
I said maybe, so you can't say I said it.
Okay. I'll give you that. You did say maybe.
Allegedly. Okay.
Oh, wow. But see, it also goes to show that he started off enslaved. And I always say this, there are some people that want to stop oppression. And then in this case, we're going to add slavery and oppression. And there are others that just want to join the oppressor and the slave sellers and owners in owning and oppressing you. And he was definitely one of those people. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to stop it. He didn't want to end it. He wanted to join into what this is the clip that is going around that is just
come on, it's Black Talk. We get it fast over here.
Come on now. This is the clip that's going around. And I definitely, I had it saved to talk to you about it because I'm going to come to you and be like, hell, because when I heard this, I'm like, there's got to be more to this story.
Yeah.
And you just laid it all out tonight, but I'm going to shut up and let you play.
A guy named Anthony Johnson. Anthony Johnson came to the United States in 1621. Came in from England as a free black. And head rights in those days says anybody coming to the country can get 640 acres free right off the bat. Then plus you can get another 500 to 600 acres for every slave that you own. He immediately went and had 13 blacks. So within a few years, about 15 years, he was one of the richest blacks in the colonies. Now, going up to 1638, he had all kinds of land and a whole bunch of slaves, getting close to about 70, 80 slaves now. And a white guy went over to one of his plantations, and one of the black slaves there, named John Castor, says, why am I a slave here with this guy? He says he owns me for life. And the white fellow, who was a plantation owner, also said, look, he doesn't own you for life. Indentured servantship normally runs 5 or 7 years. What do you mean he's got you for life? This black guy said, I've been working for this black slave plantation owner for almost 27 years. The guy said, well, just run off and leave. Forget about him. You don't have to keep working for him. So the black slave, John Castor, ran off. Anthony Johnson then went to court, and he sued the white plantation owner who had encouraged the black to run off. And the court accepted Anthony Johnson's claim against this black slave, saying that he owned that slave for life. Now, what happened there never had ever happened on the history of the earth with black folk and in this country, where all of a sudden a person laid claims against an individual for the rest of his entire naked life. And it was a black man. And once that court decision was made, whites picked it up. That became the enslavement codes, both explicitly and implicitly. And all the states began to enact it then, based on Anthony Johnson's ruling in court that he owns another black person for life.
Now, when you look at the court document, because remember, this is the 1600, and I'm going to see if I could get the court document out of the archive again. When, at that time, when you came over from another country, right, if you were a mulatto, you are considered white. You were considered white. And a lot of people who were mulatto, considered white, coming in from England, you were given that status. So I'm going to try to pull up the court document again so that you guys can see it for yourselves. But it's crazy. But now you know who the original teller was. Gang?
And scammer.
And scammer. Thank you, Brother Tad. And scammer. Let's get into what took place earlier today.
Oh, boy.
Brother Divine, Sister Brooke, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so real quick, before we get into that, because I've been holding some of the stuff from based on the things you shared, right? So I want to go in reverse order. Thank you for this added context on Anthony Johnson. Like, this is something that I've researched on my own multiple times because it is a common point of misinformation when the white supremacists start talking about, oh, well, black people owned other black people when we start talking about slavery. And I'm like, no, that we're talking about in the United States of America post 1776. This is previous to that. But also a point of contention that I also have with that talking point is that this is, and I'm glad you framed him as the original tether, because this is the way in which quote unquote black becomes the Trojan horse with which they throw everything on the black identity, which then get projected onto black Americans' black identity. So this was not a black person that owned slaves. This was a continental African. He was born in what is now known Angola. So he is a African by all accounts. And so this was an African enslaver in the 13 colonies. And so we got to be very, very clear on that talking point. So that's that one. The next one I wanted to talk about is, man, like Sister Brooke already said it, but I just want to always say and show love and gratitude for being able to sit at the feet of my OGs and learn. And this has kind of just always been like, it's like you said, we're in divine order, no pun intended, but it's like I've always viewed this movement as divine providence. And so it was a conversation me and Sister Brooke was having. I don't know if she wanted to share the details of that because I know how she is, but what she shared with me led me back to the book that I shared with her to go read, and she wound up reading and or listening to it called The Bloody Shirt. And it's one of the first books that I read in this fight to help me frame, what we were going through and what was happening. And so my eyes lit up when I saw that you were going to discuss the great Charles Caldwell, because he is one of my favorite stories in this book. And there's many, because you got Prince Rivers and you have, you know, what they did in Hamburg. So that's no small task to have made this impression upon me. But I want to read an excerpt from the book that I have bookmarked and highlighted. And it's about our brother Charles Caldwell. And so to answer Sister Brooks' point as well, yes, like at that time, Charles Caldwell and Blanche Bruce were in office in Mississippi at the same time. And so this is a reaccount, obviously, of the first-hand account from Senator Caldwell's wife. And it says, and they heard too from the widow of Senator Caldwell, the colored man who on Governor Ames' orders had led his militia company on the march to deliver arms, who had been ready and willing to march to Yazoo City, even though it meant certain death, to confront the white army that posed Albert T. Morgan as sheriff, and that was occupying the streets of Yazoo City like a Confederate cavalry brigade. She told the senators how her husband had gone out on a fox hunt on Christmas Day. He had come home in the evening and an acquaintance had insisted he come down to Chilton's cellar to take a drink for a Christmas treat, and had drawn him by the arm, and he had reluctantly gone. And when they had clinked glasses, that was the signal, and someone shot him through the window. And then a friend, Preacher Nelson, had carried him up to the street because he said he didn't want to die in the cellar, but in the open air. And when he got up, there was a whole crowd of white men waiting. And they said, dead men tell no tales. And they pumped 40 shots into his body. And before he died, he said to the white man who had shot him, never say you killed a coward. Preacher Nelson told her that a braver man had never died than Charlie Caldwell. And when I read that, that stuck so deep in my spirit. And so when you brought him up again and gave the extra context and gave the presentation that you did, it's just there's been so many moments like this in this fight where there's information that I had that I tucked away or that helps me stay motivated, and it comes out some other way, is manifested through the people that we have taken up arms with in this fight. And it just lets me know and serves as confirmation that we are on the right road and we are doing the Lord's and the ancestors' work, whichever one you choose. And the last thing I want to say is another circular moment for me, because you came and talked about Mother Gas, and I like I said, I had researched some of that, but something made me at that time research, because I was researching Mother Gasson and seeing what her contribution was to the community, and you know how we feel about Pan-Africanism now. So I researched the origins of when and why another street in Bed-Stuy was named after Marcus Garvey. And so Marcus Garvey Street is named, they renamed it from Sumner Avenue. That was what it was called prior to 1987. Now, Sumner Avenue is named after Senator Charles Sumner, the same Charles Sumner that argued in the Congress, and we just talked about that circular moment when I mentioned it on that stream we were just on TikTok, when they tried to come in and lie and say we trying to fight for race-based policies. I said somebody said that we don't need a bureau and a bank because these people are Negro or because they're Black. It's because they have for centuries been despoiled their rights. That somebody was Senator Charles Sumner. And to now tie this whole thing in a bow, Charles Sumner was giving daily tidbits about the news to our very own John Edward Bruce, who worked at the New York Times at the time. So to have all this rich history that Sister Keisha brings to us and have it be a full circle moment where it all ties in and is all pushing us forward to the same goal that we are working on now, there's no place I'd rather be, and there's no other people I'd rather be doing it with. So I just want to always show you the gratitude, the graciousness, the love, and the credit that both of y'all are well deserved of. And thank you again for just taking us under your wing and teaching us because these, like I said, when you grow up and you got that Christian foundation, these things, they call it confirmation. When you hear something that somebody done told you in the spirit and somebody else tells you, it's confirmation that you're in the right place at the right time when you're supposed to be here. And that's the kind of confirmation I get in this movement every time I listen to y'all and y'all bestow us with the knowledge and the experience that y'all have that came before us. So thank you.
Let me say this real quick. Thank y'all for being receptive, because we've been trying to get the old folks to change their mind, the young folks, but y'all doing a lot of dopeness, making history, and we appreciate that.
Like I said, we learn from y'all as well.
That's
and,
a fact.
Certain things take place, because Sister Brooke is crazy. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, she's doing these lives 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. If I'm on there, I see her on there. So, or no, she's in the hall listening. But, when I see and I hear these lives that are taking place and everything that is happening around delineation, it just triggers things in my mind that I should bring to the forefront. And, like Taz said, we just thankful that y'all are receptive, because like I said before, in the outset, we learn from you guys as well. And so, you reinvigorate things in us, because like I told Brooke when I met her, I'm not with the shits and I ain't got time. Real talk. If don't come, I don't got time for it. And she said, you know what? We got you. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, everything is full circle, brother. That's the Brooke.
I just want to say, you saw when we was in that TikTok space tonight, I was like, we got a hard stop at 8 o'clock. Okay, hard. Okay, Timberland boots stop at 8 o'clock. Okay, even when he asked us to come, I was like, Thursday, I don't know if we can't do Thursday because we are standing guests on Thorough Black Talk on YouTube. He said, okay, we'll come in at 5 o'clock. I said, okay, you got 5 to 8. And as it was getting there, it was 7:45, 15 minutes, 7:50, 10 minutes, 7:55, 5 minutes. I'm counting 4, 3, 2, 1. We gotta go. Thank you very much for having this space. Thank you very much. God bless and good night. Send those emails. Thank you. Bye. Because this is where we would rather be. You know what I mean? And no tea, no shade. But this is family here. And Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, I got a standing date. Okay? Whether I'm on the bridge or in the chat. This is my standing date, because before I was on the bridge, I was in the chat. And every Thursday. So I appreciate that. And we learned so much. And so so whatever you want us to talk about, because there's so much that happened on the TikTok tonight. On the TikTok.
Let's get into that, because first of all, if you are Brother Divine, tell the space that you were on, why you were invited. This was the second week in a row, but why you were invited, and then third, what was the reception from others that also participated in that space?
So, to his credit, and I guess I can't even take credit because, Sister Brooke is the biggest superstar, in any room that we are in, if I'm in there with her. So she's always going to be the biggest star. And so she is the TikTok star. And so, based on her, sharing the work that we're doing, it's not a star just for the hell of it. It's about because we do the work. And so she was, sharing those videos, and based on that,
big mouth.
the brother Noel, who is, I guess, a former international journalist or journalist in the UK. So I'm assuming right now he's looking to build up his his following and build up his profile online. And like Sister Keisha has said so many times, which encouraged me to get on TikTok because I didn't have a TikTok. She didn't say we run the algorithm. She didn't say that we influence the algorithm. She says Foundation Black Americans are the algorithm. And so because we are the algorithm, that brother knows what's up, and he knows that he can't make nothing move on TikTok unless foundational Black Americans are involved. And this is something that Sister Brooke pointed out to me because I had never heard of him. And in the first space we went up in there, you know, I'm new to TikTok, so I don't really got a huge profile on there like some of the other speakers. But with just us in there, we had that room at like 600, 700, 800 people in the room. Granted, it went over to 1,000, but that's through the help of Tariq Nasheed coming in, and that, you know, did it. But even after Tariq left, we still maintained that 1K long after he was gone off the panel. And so, again, we are the algorithm. And so I'm saying that not to impress anybody, but to impress upon you how important we are to this entire space. Because when I looked at his rooms before we got on today, he was live yesterday. When I went in there, his room was averaging 100, 200 people. There was nothing else going on. And when you looked at his rooms, when we're not in there on the stage, it's a Afro-immigrant / tether trauma space. They all in there complaining about foundation Black Americans, running the same bad faith arguments, the same bad faith talking points. It's a cult. It's not a lineage. It's COINTELPRO. They just want to divide people. And it's just them consistently, one after another, saying the same talking points over and over again. And those are the spaces that they love when there is no alternative narrative. In our case, the actual truth. And so the first day we got in there, like I said, that's when the space was at its peak at 1,000. And what we find, and I think this is something, this is going to be beneficial to the family, and I'll let Sister Brooke, I'll take a deep breath so she can get going. I'll come back. What we found is that, and this is for the family too, regardless of how many times we broke it down, no matter how many times we busted down to the white meat, to the gristle, as we say in our community, to the brass tacks, no matter how many times we explained it, they still came with the same bad faith talking points. It didn't matter how many times we told them it was a lineage. It didn't matter how many times we said we respect your culture, just respect ours. It didn't matter what we said. They had pre-loaded, pre-programmed rebuttals and talking points that they were going to say, regardless of whatever we said, no matter how many times we said it and had proof to the contrary. So I'm saying that to say, you know, not that we shouldn't engage in these every once in a while or that there's no benefit in them, but I just want y'all to know that their number one tactic and weapon is the ability to gaslight. If you take that away, it's just empty complaining. They just complaining. They're just whining. They're just crying. And once you can get past that, you just keep hitting with the facts, no matter how much they come in, lie, whine, and cry. That's what gets them even more upset, because now they're starting to see how strongly, and the politicians call it being on message. When we are on message like that, what they start to understand and why they get so even more upset is because when we're on message and we're on task, we're unstoppable. Not only are we unstoppable, even though people don't believe this, we're undefeated. And that's the part that people have a problem with. See, if it looks like we lost, that just means the game's not over yet. You're looking at the game, it's still halftime. We late in the third quarter, because it ain't never over until we win. And every time we picked up arms to fight, we won. I can't say the same thing about y'all, but I definitely can say the same thing about me and mine. And I land there.
Sister Brooke, your take on that space.
Yeah.
With Noel Phillips. Noel Phillips is the name, excuse me.
Yes, Noel Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely believe that Noel Phillips is, you know, the point of him bringing us on was because he wanted to know exactly what the reparations claim is, what we're doing to actually get reparations, and what boots on the ground looks like, and the people that are actually doing the work, right? Not just people who are yelling on TikTok, right? So he wanted to talk to people who are actually doing the work. So that is why he emailed Divine, and I don't even think he understood at the time that we were working together. I think he realized that after I got on the space after he had invited Divine, because if you invite Divine, you might as well say you invited me too, because I'm coming.
And if you're already, I'm pulling up too. So go ahead.
That's right. Exactly. And then I sent it out to, even shout out to Daniel too. He popped up. You know what I'm saying? And so, once I started letting all the family know. Right. I started letting all the family know. You know what I'm saying? Well, I didn't send it to Re-Ups. Re-Ups came on his own. I ain't got nothing to do with that one. But I'm telling you who I sent it to. I sent it to you. I sent it to, our brother Tad. Brother Tad came up in there. I sent it to, I sent it to Dan. And so even shout out to Miss Loretta. Miss Loretta popped up. You know what I mean? So I sent it to family members, and so he wanted to speak to us because of that, because he wanted to get like what really was really happening. And so to be able to have a real honest conversation. Now, as much as he wanted to have an honest conversation, the people in his chat, a lot of people in his chat did not want to have an honest conversation. A lot of people in his chat, in my opinion, this is my opinion, they got their little feelings hurt by the people yelling at them on TikTok, right? And then they got their little feelings hurt and they feel a way about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say that some of the things that people say are nice. No, they're not nice. These people, and truth be told, some of them are nice to me. I don't care. It does not stop me from fighting for reparations and doing whatever I need to do. But the truth be told is that what people have to realize is that when you're online, whether you're in the comments, whether you're, you know what I'm saying, online is for haters, period, full stop. Whether they be hating on Beyonce, whether they hating on Lady Gaga, whether they hating on it's for people to say the most violent, disgusting things without consequences. Okay. So in every sect or sector of whatever it is, that's what you're going to find online, because people are anonymous and they like to be anonymous as they spew their hate. So when it comes to the FBA family, there's people that are out there that are doing that as well. That don't have nothing to do with what we're doing with reparations, because them people ain't doing no work. They just online talking all the time, all day long, all night long, not doing no work, always talking. So they got their little feelings hurt by people who do a whole lot of yip yapping, and now they want to, you know what I'm saying, try to get their lick back on people who are not doing that to them. I don't go in these spaces yelling and screaming and saying horrible things to people who aren't of the lineage. I don't do that. I don't live my life that way. I don't do it online. Now, if you say something crazy to me, don't think I'm gonna let it fly. Okay, so don't think that. Now you ain't gonna get no easy wins off me. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what I'm there to do. I have a goal. When I'm online, I am there to get people to do what? Send the emails. That's the only reason I'm online, because honestly, I'm too busy and I'll be having stuff to do. And I'm not really a social media person like that to be in chats and all these things. So I am there to garner support for the work that we're doing, right? And to not just garner support, but even awareness for what we're doing, right? And to get people to send these emails. So, they want to get their lick back for the yelling that they got from other people on us. And it didn't work out very well because, look, like I said, we ain't no easy wins. So you can sit there, they lied about so many things. The lies that were told most often would be, one, that we're not doing work. That's you already know that's bullshit. So I don't even have to go into that. Another lie that we heard a lot is that that there are no Caribbeans or Africans that are trying to stop our reparations, and that they don't really care about whether we get it or not, and that there's nobody trying to stop us. And no matter how many times we name the people that have sponsored the unconstitutional bill, we have named them over and over. We gave them the link to the bill. You know what I'm saying? We gave them the link to the constitutionally sound bill. They still want to act like, you know, that that there are no people that are in our way that have our same complexion, right? Another thing. Another lie that we heard a lot of is that these people that man, I had it in my head and I just lost it. But we just kept hearing lie after lie after lie. They're saying that that we're a hate group. President Devine said to them, if we are a hate group, point to me the hate crimes. Go. What happens? Crickets. The only thing they can talk about is them being insulted online. Again, that's not a hate group. That is just haters. And there is a difference, okay? To be a hate group, you would have had to commit some sort of hate crime. So point to us. And here's the thing. They don't, I feel, and this is my feeling, this part is my opinion here. This is in fact, but in my opinion, you don't understand. You use that people are using words that they don't understand what they mean. So you're calling us a hate group, but you do not understand that the word that term has one, consequences, or you don't care about the consequences, and two, you have to do something to be considered a hate group, and that you have to commit some sort of hate crime. They don't understand the correlation. They just feel like they can just throw out wild accusations because they don't understand the United States law, the legal system, and what these things actually mean in a court of law, right?
And to also keep saying that it's a group when it's not a group.
When it's not a group, it's a lineage. That's another lie they keep telling, that it's a group and not a lineage. And I'm gonna find this. I remember saying this to people when this delineation movement just started. I remember saying this to people on Facebook years ago. If you can identify, there's no difference from us identifying as foundational Black Americans, as Marcia identifying as Haitian, Brother Black, I think, where did you say you were from? Belize? Did I get that right?
Honduras.
I knew it was a Spanish-speaking Black country. I knew it was one of those. So, okay, so your Honduras is no difference from Marcia saying that she's Haitian and Brother Black saying that he's Honduran. There's no difference. And so the fact that people are trying to play like they do not understand that, it's getting boring. It's getting old. And I'm trying to think of some more of the lies. I did have one. I probably should have wrote them down.
And the trauma dumping that they do, complaining about being called names when they were kids and stupid stuff like that.
Right.
When I keep pointing out that as a person from East Flatbush, I was teased relentlessly by Caribbeans. I did not let that. I do not hold that against them. We were all children, and in fact, I know a lot of the children who teased me had issues at home. So therefore, I will not hold that against them, because it was just an outward sign of something they were going through at home. So I don't hold that against them, and nor do I judge all Caribbeans by what children do. We are all adults now,
right? And
you know what I'm saying?
Also, too, just to kind of piggyback on that, because I seen that moment, that comment at the bottom, and I know it's only going to take less than 1 second for Sister Keisha to get the video. So let me just get my point out quick, because I already know that. So yeah, another thing too is, and this is for me one of the most alarming things. And now, granted, this guy is a troll, right? But I want the family to understand, and the same thing that I'm gonna say the same thing. The same thing I'm saying applies to what Sister Keisha about to play. I want y'all to remember that the KKK started off as trolling. The KKK started off as jokes. They were just gonna put these sheets on, pretend they was ghosts, and scare folks. And Jim Crow as well was jokes until it became real. So I understand this guy's a troll, but I want y'all to understand just how nefarious these people are and the way in which they view our justice claim and their entitlement to it. There was a brother that came up. He's a Jamaican, not a self-proclaimed Jamaican, because he is Jamaican. He is a Jamaican self-proclaimed Pan-African. And 2 nights in a row, he came up. His name is Revenue on TikTok and on Twitter. You know, if you listen to any of
Tethanu.
Yeah, A Tethanu. That's what I was calling him. And he is a grade A tether, and he is a grade A troll.
Yeah.
But what I want the family to pay attention to is the first night he got on, he lied about Stokely Carmichael inventing Black Power. He lied about a number of things that I easily got back up and debunked. So he came up for round 2. He was 0 for 1. This time around, he tried to claim that we were trying to get reparations based on race, and that Prop 209 from California was something that applies to the entire nation, which it does not. But here's the nefarious part. In his truth, right? Because he was telling the truth about what Prop 209 does prohibit. But at the end of his diatribe that I then went and debunked and made him 0 for 2, I clearly said, but brother, I have never and will never make the claim that y'all as the Caribbean or any other African country is not owed redress. And if you fight for that, if there's space for myself as the president of the United States Freedom Project to ally with you, I will. But what we won't do is put them together, because that jeopardizes both of our claims for various reasons. His response was, we are not separating claims.
Told you.
And to quote one of our master teachers, they are so used to leaning on us. They do not know how to fight for themselves. And even after offering the olive branch of allyship, after you go out and do the work of organizing for your justice claim, for you and your people and whoever else you want to do in the name of Pan-Africanism, that I would ally with you even though we are a lineage-based organization. His response was, we are not separating the claims. Understanding that makes it unconstitutional. Understanding that they're not owed what we're owed. And this is why I bang on the religion of Pan-Africanism so much, is because that's what he's standing on. Because without the religion of Pan-Africanism, in what world would a Jamaican be able to say, no, I'm owed what you're owed as a separate and distinct ethnic group here in the United States of America, in the country your ancestors built? There will be no connection. It's the ideology and doctrine of Pan-Africanism that tells him, because of his melanin, because of the Ma'afa and everything else they call it, we have an entitlement to whatever you get. And so that is dangerous, because they know, just like the Pan-Africans that we're fighting against on the commission and that signed the bill, they know it's unconstitutional. They are willing to torpedo our justice claim so that either they get a piece or nobody gets a piece. And that's not allyship. And in no way, shape, or form can you ever build unity with that type of mindset. That is somebody trying to force you into an exploitative transaction. That is not unity. And I said this before, I'll say it again. If the price of faux unity is the erasure of the foundation of Black American autonomy, miss me with it. I'm good. I don't need none of that. None of that. And I said this in one of the things, I'll take a breath here so we get to that video. If you are able to be you and you're able to be me, who am I? And the answer to that is nobody. And they are okay with us being nobody, so they could be the somebodies. And we just not letting that go down, no matter how much you cry, whine, or complain. And they're using the things that we are researching and bringing to light to then try to weaponize it to justify why they need to be on the claim. This fool really tried to weaponize oh, well, you can't discriminate against Caribbeans that went through Jim Crow. That's discrimination. Like, what? That was his justification for saying we belong on the claim, and if you don't put us on the claim, we're going to sue you. But here's what he didn't know and what he didn't say. And this is why this thing is so ridiculous. Now, I'm really going to take a breath. I know I said that already. I want to get this out. Prior to 19, we're not even talking about, I mean, you know how long Jim Crow was? This is the Smithsonian. This ain't Divine. This ain't the U.S. Freedom Project. This is the Smithsonian. And those doing real research. Prior to 1965, the population of Afro immigrants in the United States of America as a percentage was to the right of the decimal point. Meaning, there were so little of them in the country, it almost doesn't even make sense to try to tabulate what the actual percentage was. The lion's share of you came after 1965, and most of you came, especially talking about the Afro-Caribbeans, in the boom of the 1980s under Reagan. You don't see a huge influx of continental African immigrants until the 2000s. So we're talking about a people where the overwhelming majority of y'all have been in the country less than 60 to 50 years. And you talking about suing over Jim Crow? And we already see instances where during Jim Crow, and I gave those examples too, that you had Afro-Caribbeans that had access to businesses, access to whites-only areas, access to neighborhoods that foundational Black Americans wasn't able to access. What we talking about here? If we're talking about facts and having good faith conversations, they are not. And as long as we stay on message, we're going to eventually drown them out. And that's a good thing.
I tell you, boy, I tell you. We're going to play that video, but in the second hour, we got our guests behind the scenes, so we definitely got to get into that. But I just want everybody to know what's happening in this wake of delineation and why it is important that we do it. As Devon said, on many occasions, and in my opinion, right now, he is the authority on disaggregation and why we must do that as well. And so stay tuned. Stay tuned. So our brother Knowledge Born Allah is in the chat. In the green room, ready to come through. He has an ebook series. I believe it's 9 volumes. He can correct me if I'm wrong when he comes in here. And we're going to discuss 3 of those volumes tonight. And we'll give you the information on how you can purchase these interactive. They're very interactive, complete with a complete music score, this ebook series. And in one volume, you'll see some pictures of myself in it as well. So without further ado, do the Knowledge Radio's very own brother Knowledge Born Allah. Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge, brother. How are you?
Peace to the family. My Uncle Tad in the building.
Peace. What's the word?
All the time when I say I've been Black my whole life, I say my Uncle Tad said I've been Black my whole life. It's always the preface. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
My brother, whatever dimension you in, I'm there with you, brother. You understand what I'm saying? Honest to you, my warrior sister, always quick with her blade and quicker with her tongue. You understand what I'm saying? Sister Marcia in the building. And the reason why I'm here, you understand what I'm saying? If it was a gorilla waiting for me in the alley, I'll go face that gorilla. Then to be messing with my sister K Fighter. I'm going to say that straight up. You understand what I'm saying? you ain't that gorilla going to have to squabble. And Mr. Brooke and President Divine, I want to openly honor you two in this moment, because I heard a lot of propaganda surrounding a lot of these things, and I thank you both for being staunch. And if this is a picture of what Foundational Black American is about, I endorse it wholeheartedly. You understand what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of people out here doing a lot of talk, a lot of internet tug of wars and stuff like that. But if you two, along with my family, because I'm here with my family, if this is your stance, I understand it. And I had never, ever said a bad word, public or private, about delineation. Been black my whole life. You've been here. The moment you decide to identify, people come to indemnify. The moment you decide to identify, people come to indemnify. You know what I'm saying? You could take it on whatever level you want to take it on, whether it's a determined idea, but especially and most specifically, who you are and how you want to be identified. You understand what I'm saying? So honest to you both and honest to you all. And I'll help. If this is the movement that's out here, I support it 100%. You clear with that.
Appreciate you, brother. Knowledge.
Definitely, brother. So let us know what you're here to talk about. You know, what you got for the people. Give us the 1-2, brother.
Okay. Well, I created a 13 ebook series, right? Volume
13. I was wrong.
No, you were correct. Volume 1 through 9 is Voices of the Diaspora. That's that ebook series, but it's Voices of the Diaspora as a collective. And there are 4 standalone volumes that go along with it. And we're discussing 3 of those tonight. I had Secure the Legacy, Power of the Black Family, and what was the other one?
Just let me know what you want first.
Whatever one you got right there, I'm with it. I don't know what it is yet.
All right, this is Sankofa effect, I believe.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's a fitting thing for tonight of all, tonight, because I just left Brooklyn like 2 weeks ago. You understand what I'm saying? If not that, even that long, you know what I'm saying? And I was on Mother Gaston. You understand what I'm saying? So going through, Brownsville, going through East New York, going through Flatbush, Crown Heights, all over Brooklyn, all over Harlem, even in the BX. You know what I'm saying? And I seen a couple flying saucers over there, so don't be sleeping on Brother Black. I ain't playing over there. You understand? So yeah, I was all through New York, gathering some stories for the motivation behind this particular series. This ebook series is to fund my docu-series, and the docu-series is Voices of the Diaspora. So Voices of the Diaspora kind of puts it all together in a framework. So this one, Sankofa Effect, we're looking at Black movements. We're looking at Black organizations. So, when people make those claims, like they was talking about, oh, this is a cult, this is this is that. No, we didn't have some cults and all kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not one of them. So if we're not educated and orienting our mind around our own history, our own subject matter, we out here lost. So the Sankofa Effect is something that I honed in on in regards to giving a critical analysis of Black organizations. So if you're a Black organization or if you're looking to organize Black people, you should be looking in this volume to be critical and to be, actually careful about what you're aligning to and who you're aligning with, because you don't know a lot of these, people that's out here running around as we're uncovering and rediscovering. So definitely a dope volume. I illustrated everything. I'm looking at our family. You could go to the religious movements, you could go to the spiritual movements, you could go to the political movement, even the education movement. Just going through the volumes and looking at these organizations to be starters in a situation to spark your brain. Because you might be out here just people worshiping or just going through something or going off of what somebody tells you versus doing your own research. And I highlighted a few movements. You see what I'm saying? So you see some of the figures from past to present day. So we have a duty and responsibility to be able to look at these movements and see if they're viable movements or not. So all of these are all there. Some of these, they're not my own personal ones that I will align with, but they have been out in the fray. And when you write something and you put it out there for public consumption, you're no longer the hero. So I want to encourage young Black researchers, young Black documentarians, and chroniclers to be able to look at this particular body of work and translate it more closely in a language that's beneficial to their core audience, their group of people. So I got color, I got pictures, I got music, whatever it is.
Like you said, what made you choose the topics actually in this volume? Because you could have chose, like you said, we have history for days, but what made you choose these selective movements for this volume?
Well, they were polarizing movements for one, and then two, we're organizational heads. Like I came up in organization. You see what I'm saying? I came up in organization, whether it was political, whether it was spiritual, whether it's religious, whether it was revolutionary, or all of the above. You understand what I'm saying? So being able to critically present a situation where we get to look at our organizations and give our own analysis and not rely on our enemies' analysis one way or the other. So to be able to give this snapshot is a organizational one-on-one recruiting or manual, instruction manual to be able to look at organizations thoroughly, because we on Thorough Black Talk. You understand what I'm saying? So looking thoroughly, looking critically,
on the music, name some of the artists that you chose for the music selection that also goes with each volume.
Oh yeah, each song was handpicked to be the soundtrack to what you got in the books. Like some people get the books and they be like, "Oh, it's an audio book. You about to read it to me?" Like, come on, man. I done did everything else. You want me to read it to you too? But I know our people have to, like, regardless of what side of the fence you on. If y'all saw this book cover, this right here, right? This hardcover book cover somewhere in the bookstore, you at least look at it, right, for a second. You'll be like, what? What's this doing in Barnes? You want to look at what you doing? What's this doing in half books? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's this doing in Barnes and Noble? Or, what's this doing on Amazon? Like, so, something about this calls to your spirit automatically, right? So the music has to do the same thing. So this is Sankofa effect. This is looking back to move forward. So the brothers on here of United Front, Doc Maki, aka Omawali, aka Ambassador O, and UFG, Bomani, peace to my brother, and Akitunde on here, and it's cinematic. You understand what I'm saying? So while you're looking and what you're hearing, all of it is speaking to those inner aspects of yourself.
Gotcha.
Is like one of my babies. I almost didn't release it to the public. I was speaking with one of my elders, one of my teachers, the chief priest of Ningsu, my brother Uncle Nu. He was asking me about another survival book, right? Because I got tons of survival books, but I spent 30 years of my life in a survival sort of space, right? And 17 of that was with the military. So if you know, right? And
we know.
I looked at some of these books that are out here, and I was like, oh, everybody's preparing their people. Everybody's preparing their people to some degree or another. I'm like, and the stuff that we got for us, it just sounds like it's theirs, right? So it's like, oh, they tried to do the best version of that. So I was like, it's not something that grabs your attention, right? We would hear people say we at war. If you go back real quick, Sister Keisha, you said if we at war, right? You don't see this. This isn't the imagery that comes into your mind, right? And then you go to the next page. I hear a term like boots on the ground. From a militaristic perspective, I heard everybody throwing it around, but understand that boots on the ground means the amount of body bags and the amount of caskets that's needed. So if they send 100,000 troops to a region, they can say they got 100,000 boots on the ground. They're prepared for none of them to come back, for all of them to be casualty. So if you're garnering that kind of spirit because it sounds good, understand militaristically how you have typecast yourself from that perspective. So this is all that's left of you. your helmet and your boots. You understand? So being mindful of these kinds of things. So this volume is dedicated to securing the legacy. I hear people saying securing the bag, and I promise you, if you chase in the bag, you'll end up in one.
True.
You'll end up in that bag. It's zipped up. So securing the legacy, our people, our family, ourself, our future, right? There's a fight for sovereignty. There's a fight for identification. There's a fight for righteousness for our people. Like our people, our grandchildren shouldn't ever have to know that this time existed unless we tell it to them in oral tradition or we wrote some books about it. They shouldn't have to be existing in it. This is the reason why we're seeking to secure the legacy in this manner. You understand? So when I wrote this book at the behest of Chief Priest, I started going through different things in regards to not the necessarily doom and gloom, because that's the only aspect you hear about survival, right?
Mhm.
Regular day-to-day stuff. You in the car, you on the train, right?
Mhm.
In New York, right? Well, you on the train, you on the 2 train, you on the 3 train, you on the 4 train, you on the R, you on one of them trains to and fro, and the train at a standstill. The train at a standstill, say 5-10 minutes. That's one thing. Say an
Mhm.
hour. That's a whole nother thing. What do you have with you in case that type of situation goes from an extended period of time? So we in the inclement weather season. I just went through shoveling snow and jumping down in snow and pushing cars out of the snow and shoveling the walkway so my elders and them could get going and helping people dig out their cars and having me have got to get dug out and get pushed out in a situation too. So what do you have in your car or what do you have on your person in these instances to sustain yourself in that period? Because we already know how people act on the train on the regular. You understand? Don't add no extra nonsense to this. In this era with this divisive phone where everybody trying to get something on their phone, anything is bound to happen, whether it's a prank or it's real. And there are strange people walking around, and there are all types of Schedule 1 drugs that's out here messing with people's psyche and all of that. So being prepared. All right. So being prepared in an urban environment and in a rural environment, because not everybody is in an urban environment. So both of these aspects in that regard. So when I sit down with people, I ask them something basic like, how many windows do you have in your house? Most people don't know. Most people don't know, or your apartment. You understand? Like, how many ways are there to get into your apartment building? Like what's a certain kind of way you could maneuver to get off your block and nobody see you? You got to think about all of those things, and then so knowing your terrain in the urban environment, in the rural environment, because in the rural environment you're not guaranteed to have all of the amenities that's in a regular environment. So
something you just said is one of the reasons why I ride bikes. Because when you ride a bike, as opposed to being in a vehicle, you are able to maneuver through the terrains of your environment in a way that a vehicle cannot. And so there are ways, let's say, for example, if they shut down the highways here in the borough of Brooklyn, I can get the hell up out of here.
Right. Agreed, wholeheartedly. So walking, riding bikes, the car is the last thing in that kind of environment, because everybody's gonna be thinking about that car and the way of congestion and bottlenecks and people losing their mind, just even on a regular. Just on a regular 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you think you're trying to get somewhere, you done left at 12, you still driving at 4 o'clock, and it ain't less traffic, it's more traffic. Where's your mind, right? In that type of situation. So we train from a space of clarity, not from a space of fear.
Right.
So
I like this. I like this volume. This is
and
one of my
being
favorites.
situationally aware. Sister Keisha, I don't play that. You folks out here walking around with Crocs on in the snow, they head down, it's all in their phone, they're in a whole nother world. I was like, they something different. You understand what I'm saying? They something different. So with the amount of victims and people that are getting snatched up out here and harmed, because you're not situationally aware going into situations, then, you know, I beg to question a lot of these things. You see what I'm saying? So you got that $2,000 iPhone, but then somebody bop you in the head and they selling you for $2,000.
True.
Understand what I'm saying? So or less. So your life is worth less than an iPhone. So just a reminder in that regard to build up and train and have battle drills with your family. So this is made for the family structures, whether it's before school, after school, weekend, summertime, break, all of these things to be able to get our family back to the table and strategic. You see what I'm saying? And have some sort of tactical pause in regards to how we're moving with this particular thing, because anything can happen at any time. Are you prepared for a natural disaster? Are you prepared for if the lights go out? But just are you prepared regular? Like, so say it's a regular drive real quick, just as another example, and you got your elders with you and y'all in the traffic jam. Do you have something to be able to do CPR if necessary, or do you have their medication, or whatever the case, whatever the protocol is for your loved one that's with you riding, that's under your protective care? Are you sane enough to be in that type of environment where you have to administer aid?
Yeah, the pros and cons.
We have to send somebody, you know, on their way. You understand? Because God is God. It's either you got or you know what I'm saying, somebody gonna get you one way or another. You ready to go. So it's securing the legacy, Black tactical preparedness for urban and rural survival. That, you know, that's a way for me to give pointed, customized training to a family or to a group of people that have them begin the space to becoming tactically aware.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yo, brother, why we climbing this mountain?
Well, y'all hear Bomani, right? I hear Bomani on Mountains of the Moon. You see what I'm saying? And the other one was Ty Hair RBG and Brick, the foundation. One of the brothers, they were working. They had Revolutionary Mind Cinema, and they had started the project of Revolution Exodus, you know, and I was a part of that project 11 years ago now. So imagine if this was the discussion 11 years ago versus everybody just kind of like, all right, we just going to be here. We're going to see what's going to happen type of situation. So it comes to a head like, yo, what did I just waste a decade on? And with who? And for what type of situation? And I'm telling you, dissatisfaction born God or mixed devil. It's simple, right? So if we would have had an honest discussion, right? So my perspective back then, I had 365 reasons to leave America, and I still got them. Now, are they critical to this degree? We're looking at what revolution looks like on the other side. Back then, yeah. 10 years later, not so much. A lot has changed. A lot of information has been brought to light. There was people that was on both sides of the fence, and if they moved for a reason. Everybody can't just want to be in something. You understand what I'm saying? They seen things, they witnessed things, and all of that. And I'm 1,000% in agreement with however you want to identify yourself, as long as it's Black and you ain't harming no Black men, women, or children. Understand? Unless it's in self-defense. But any of them other aspects, we heard everything from everybody else. You know, whether they had a turban on, or whether they had a dashiki on, or whether they had a fez on their head or a kufi. We heard all of that. You understand what I'm saying? So why wouldn't we be, you know, acculturated to want to, you know, identify something for ourselves? And this last volume right here, it's a reason for that. You know, the power of Black family. Everybody understands the power that we will and utilize naturally. Y'all just brought up some great points about these additions and all these kinds of things in America. And when we start looking at Black family, we have to deal with it from the triumphant to the traumatic, but we don't get to the triumphant without dealing with and eradicating the traumatic. You see what I'm saying? We can't have no Black family if we got deviants running around and miscreants and scammers. and all of these things that we out here dealing with. You understand what I'm saying? Predators and the like. If we don't eradicate them, we can't come to the table and say we got trust going on. You see what I'm saying? So as long as the deviants allowed to run rampant, we find some damn excuse for these monkeys that's running around. That's the situation where we find ourselves in. You know, so Power to Black Family begins to have a courageous discussion centered around restorative, performative, and healing dialogue around our family. You know, and we can utilize these examples to build closer spaces to one another. Because just because you grew up with somebody don't mean you know exactly who they are. I might have been in the same family. You understand what I'm saying? In the same house and ate the same cornflakes. But I don't mean y'all had the same experience. So if we're not coming together in that relatable space, we have to have an understanding of what that is and why that is. Something might have happened. And you know what I mean? And if we don't address it, then that becomes something that becomes a detractor or a distraction from what we're striving to build as a family. So it's a call to us to return back to our family spaces and have them courageous conversations and discussions and builds and, you know, slap box if we got slap, whatever the case we need to do in that regard. You understand what I'm saying? To get back on one accord, because I promise you, any place you go into, you're dealing with somebody's family business. They'll tell you, oh, don't do nothing with family. And then you be in everybody's family store. You be on everybody's family job. You be on all of these other spaces. You see what I'm saying? And with this space, if we use that word delineate, we delineating from something, we delineating from suckers, rats, deviants, snakes, fakes, busters, transformers, and all of the likes of these people. And we're only dealing with those who righteously want to build, you know, and anything else and everybody else could be eradicated, exterminated, and eliminated. That's real simple for me. So we can have this family that we envision in the future that's righteously associated with Black life and a righteous Black future. So. Yeah, so we have workbooks that's going to be associated with each of these books. There's 13 in all, and we're looking for some people to partner with to do utilize these books that are great books.
Yo, brother, why we climbing this mountain?
Fundraising tools for your cause, your organization, your daycare, your platform, your podcast, whatever the case may be. So we can partner in a split with these ebook sales to, you know, incentivize support and get this in front of the right eyes, the right people that are going to utilize them to help change their life and their family's life.
Now tell the people how they can get these books, brother. Where could they go to get the books? And I don't know if I can't see it from here. If you put that information a part of your description. If you can edit it. I believe you can do it on your own. But let the people know where they can actually get these books from.
Well, they can get the bundle from me for $50 during the month of February, and I'm thinking of extending it into March as well. But the books totally, they are $150, but I have them at a discount for $50 for the month of February, and I believe we're going into March. So they can email me. That's the easiest way. studentoutradio@gmail.com. That way I have their email and I can send these ebooks directly to you. Sister Keisha, Sister K Fighter, pardon me, and my Uncle Tad, they got the books. You know what I'm saying? I ain't a scammer.
Right.
I ain't a scammer from the UK.
You ain't the UK scammer?
From the UK Nigerian scammer. You understand? I ain't telling you I'm building a school on Pluto and it ain't happening. I ain't doing none of that. You understand?
Shout out to Dr. Umar.
Email again? You said it so fast.
Do the Knowledge Radio. That's DOTHAKNOWLEDGE
OWLEDGERADIO. Do the knowledge radio at Gmail. That's the easiest way. .me /
Okay, I put it in the
Student
chat.
Knowledge Radio or Cash App.
Thanks, bro.
$Knowledge Born Alive. You get all 13 volumes. Like I said, it's 9 volumes, 1 through 9. Volume 1 deals with entrepreneurship. Volume 2 deals with the upliftment and restoration of the Black woman. Volumes 3 and 4, revolutionaries from around the globe. Volume 5 deals with science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Volume 6 deals with the need for us to control our narrative and raise up our future documentarians and content creators in a way that's righteous, so they don't think they got to put a wig on their head or a dress on their body to be taken seriously as a joke. That's another extra part. So volume 7 deals with our educators, our own educators. We don't think we got to go to Greece or Europe or Asia to sound profound. We have our own people and folks that have made our own stride. So volume 8, volume 8 is Beyond the Battlefield, and that is dealing with the revolutionaries, dealing with the champions and building a champion in a victory mindset versus the victim mindset. Like the victim mentality is really, put us in a lot of these positions that we're in, just thinking that we're victims instead of being victors. You understand what I'm saying? So Beyond the Battlefield, we looking at different people from around the diaspora. You see what I'm saying? So we're looking at Black revolutionaries, explorers, champions, all of them. So we're looking at Muhammad Ali and them, versus the other guy that was kneeling. That was y'all fam. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even stand, y'all. I was kneeling with him, but that's the case. So, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf don't get the shine that this guy got. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And some of the other people who stood up. You know what I mean? And these other ambiguous folk get all of the attention and they get to run away, with the funds. You see what I'm saying? So they can get paid to actually do nothing. But we're looking at what it means to go from a player to a winner to a champion to a championship dynasty, right? And this volume right here, From Nameless to Knowledge, is my own personal memoirs, and I want to be able to, show our people that you can articulate yourself, you can share your story, and your story is worth it being marketed to inspire somebody who needs it. Somebody's going to need it in the future. So if you tell your story the best way you know how.
Is that where the Imhotep over there?
Yep, it is.
Be more in the building. Okay.
Yeah. Baba Yaba Rudy, y'all see everybody like these the family. You see what I'm saying? You gotta have a book and have a family in there. I don't know what you're doing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful opportunity to be able to see yourself in different sorts of likenesses, along the way. You know what I mean? So, Sister Keisha is our Fannie Lou Hamer. You understand what I'm saying? That's ours. So when you got folks that stand for you, you got to honor them in that same sort of way. So if you look, boom, there you go, right there. You understand? So in my volume, I'm putting my family that's close to my heart and highlighting movements that I know. I know, Dr. Mai, I know her whole family. You see what I'm saying? So why wouldn't I put her, in the volume where we're looking in regards to this, along with some of the guests and people who have been on my platform over the years, so just give my old and a nod, you know what I'm saying? Lord Jamal, some of the fam, you know what I mean? Like over the years, it's been countless of people, 4,000 episodes. It don't sound like it's a lot, but it's a lot when you got to sift through, imagine when I get to the volumes to do the knowledge radio volumes, you see what I'm saying? So, how do you put 4,000 episodes into a book or two? So definitely utilizing your voice and your platform for the benefit and elevation of your people. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, definitely was an eye-opening experience and a journey, within itself. You know what I'm saying? If you go back real quick, just get you, I got that from Uncle Tad right here. The joint from American Gangster right here. This Uncle Tad right here. The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. You know what I'm saying? I should have had your picture right there.
Ain't too late. Ain't too late.
Should have had your picture right there. But you going in the Do Knowledge Radio volumes, man. You know what I'm saying? You're a true prolific to be a little soundbite somewhere. Your whole story got to get told. Better days ahead.
I appreciate that.
So, really, it's just some of my life lessons that I learned from peace and in war, from combat, just from life and all of that, because everybody deserves to have their chronicles shown in a way that's agreeable to them,
I love it. I love it. I love it. And again, for not just young people, but generally.
Saturday.
1 second. What? Okay, so just so that you know that I'm appreciative for you even considering putting my photograph up in that book, because I know everything that it is that you do, brother. And like I said, when it comes to this streaming game, you and Doggy Diamonds, we learn from y'all. Because for people who don't know,
I learned from Doggy. I learned from Doggy.
Over 4,000 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And when I would watch Do the Knowledge Radio, I'm like, is he ever off the air? Because he will be 24/7 on the air. 24/7. So I'm definitely appreciative of you as well, brother. Go ahead, Sister Marcia. You have something to say?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sister Marcia, I forgot. Sister Marcia got her copies. Don't smack me.
That's right. Don't forget, I got my copies too.
Yeah, I don't want no smoke.
I got my copies too.
All of
working,
them, like all 13.
Shout out to Doggy Diamonds in the building. Doggy Diamond TV.
Right.
Please follow. Please like, share, and subscribe.
So what happened? You shout him out and he just comes like the Candy Man.
That's it.
Ooh.
That's it. Make sure you're watching your mouth. He pop up the other way too.
Look, he said he just logged on. And just heard his name. Look, I don't want to be the next puppet leg, so yeah.
Nah, we don't want the puppet leg problem, but I was just saying, dog, that we look up to you, and Knowledge Born. You guys have been doing it for so long, and then Knowledge said, he learned from Doggy Diamonds.
Yeah, that's our Gil Noble.
We like.
That's our Gil Noble and our VJ Rothman game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
ours. That's ours. You like Doggy. That's who he is for me personally. Gil Noble and VJ Ralph McDaniels. For our generation. You see what I'm saying? That's just being real, being personable. Nobody with them kind of interviews and nobody with them questions, because Gil Noble will hit you with them questions. You know what I'm saying? And VJ Ralph McDaniels, you got one time. Either you on it or you ain't on it. You see what I'm saying? So he personifies those and his investment into ensuring that these archives from our stories and our culture devoid of this vampiric sort of hold that it has on it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even got it. We talk about hip hop. That's a whole nother thing. You see what I'm saying? In regards to foundational Black American influence and input and packaging it up in the way that it's supposed to. He stands as a vanguard for the culture. Truthfully, in all spirit and in truth.
Absolutely. Like I tell everybody, when it comes to hip hop music history, Doggy Diamonds is the go-to. 100. I don't know nobody else right now outside of DJ Ralph McDaniels. I don't know anybody else who does it like he does it. And like he says, he's been on YouTube for 20 years, but going back to Forbes DVD, I mean, he's been doing it for quite some time. So in this Black History Month, we also celebrate Doggy Diamonds TV. Let's clap it up for the legend.
Yeah, Living Black History series. That's the focus for this, for this year and for the docu-series, Voices of the Diaspora. So Living Black History. So you ain't got to go back and hope that's what the person looked like on the picture. You could go see them in person. You understand what I'm saying? My uncle know I'm a real person in real life. I ain't somebody who just radio from my car. You understand what I'm saying? Video from my car and all of those stuff. Like, nah, I'm a human in real life with a real family and move righteously. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you was unrighteous, something might have happened to your chin. You know what I mean? One way or the other. That's how it go. But definitely these relationships in regards to this, and this is how we kind of eliminate the stuff on the internet. Be wrestling, and I guess it's supposed to be that way. It don't really be what it is. All of these folks ain't really mad like they mad. They are modeling behavior that they see in the internet space. So a lot of that stuff is that. And when you see some of these cats who was talking real tough, all of a sudden, that little, yo, man, I'm saying I was just on my channel and you know how I do. Yo, God, it ain't really that serious, Hey, brother, can I talk to you for a second, brother? Yeah, start doing that. Start doing all that. They went from that high, crazy voice online to real model tone and very not tough. You understand? So
we tested that firsthand a few months ago, brother. We wish you would have been there. We the pull-up squad over here. Don't say we gonna pull up on you. For real.
All the way.
We already tested that.
Y'all legacy is not to be F with. I said what I got on here. If a gorilla waiting for me in the alley, I'd rather go scrap with that gorilla. It has this excuse like, yo, fam, let me talk to you for a second, brother. Oh no. Where the gorilla at? You understand what I'm saying? Where the gorilla at? Because it ain't that easy. And that's the vanguard that's it's missing in a lot of the regards where they're no longer the people. You see what I'm saying? If my sisters call me on the phone, they know what it is. They know what it is. That's what it is. You see what I'm saying? And my brothers, they know what it is. So to recycle that energy. So I'm not in that, violate you space. There's the space in the element where, our futures matter more than how I'm feeling in the moment. You understand? So writing these books, doing these docuseries, doing the radio for as long as I did, and just putting myself out there in that manner is more righteous in the eyes of my mother and father than any chaos, ruckus, and confusion I'm causing in the street. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it was righteous or otherwise. So, we owe it to our futures to celebrate the lanes that they're building up. So when Eddie Murphy, for instance, was a kid and he said he wanted to be a comedian, I'm sure his parents looked at him like he was out of his mind. You understand what I'm saying? But now look at the lane now. So now everybody and their mother trying to push their children off into the entertainment industry and not understanding what happens to them in those places. So whether it's athletics, whether it's something entertainment-wise, whatever the case may be, this becomes a moniker that gets pushed to them, but they're not equipping them with the proper information and the proper protective postures to be in these places at all. You see what I'm saying? So, we have a duty and responsibility to equip them. Now, if they don't listen, they don't listen, but you ain't going to say you ain't know.
Definitely, brother. Well, we appreciate you coming and giving us the 411 and sharing what you share with us. And I hope everybody can pick up some of those volumes if you can't get the whole volume. But just let them know that Thorough Black Talk sent you, so you never know how it might work out. We got standing up on the bridge. So, never know how it work out. Brother, you're more than welcome to hang out with us. If you're busy, you busy. We know how it is.
I want to see that video. I was like, I skipped me for a second. Hold on, where the smoke was at? I wanted to see what the smoke was about. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, hey.
So there was a video made by an African woman from the Congo. And
I think she was from Sierra Leone.
You're right. And now She recently took it down, but people had already pulled it. And it's going out to where she works, where she lives, and who she is. Because in this delineation, a lot of people have spewed a lot of hate and rhetoric. And, you know, if you're not in these spaces, you don't know what's going on. So we're going to pull it up so y'all can see and hear for yourselves.
I hate you niggas. Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest.
Oh, hold on. These people are the tools of white supremacy and the systems in place. Check this out.
Happy Black History Month to everyone except the foundational Black Americans. I hate you niggas. I hate you niggas. Let's die. Ooh. If I could gather all of you in one place with a strap to my chest. You know what time it is. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna blow up the spot. We, more like me. I'm doing society a favor. But yeah, everybody else, happy Black History Month.
So this is why I always...
Uh-huh.
So what are we supposed to do with that?
So that's the clip. And that's foundational I was talking about, Brooke, but
okay, yeah, we cool.
Yeah. Foundational was a cool cat.
You know, I gotta watch my anyway.
So your thoughts on this video, because those people who are not in these spaces, this stuff goes on 24/7 in these spaces. It got so bad at one point, it's had to ban Nigerians from the hours of 11 to 5 because they were spewing hate and scamming at the same time. So say me and Knowledge get into an issue. They would take my, depending on who they like, they would take my picture and put it up and sell it, saying, you know, slaves for sale. This is also what's been going on. So when people say FBA is divisive, are you out your freaking mind? Y'all thoughts on this video clip? You tell me.
I'll go first. So the first time I saw this video, I'm like, that you're sending, when people call us a hate group, she just admitted to wanting to commit a hate crime, right? Which in itself, making terroristic threats online regarding things that explode is already a problem. Those folks will come see you regarding that. They will come see you, come get you, look at the school pewers. Okay? You make threats like that, they coming to see you. So I would hope that she will be getting a visit soon, because you should not be allowed to say things like that about citizens, foundational citizens of this country, and still live here. And then when people go into, like I was talking about some of the haters earlier, this type of behavior is what created these monsters that you see online. The monsters that yell back, the FBA family that sit there and take hours and roast and roast and roast and roast. It is in response to this type of rhetoric. This isn't something, it's not as if we punched first. It's a response to years and years of this type of rhetoric. Because so when the thing that Sister Keisha's talking about people having mock slave auctions online, this isn't new. That's like that's back when Clubhouse was popping. And I don't know if you guys are aware of Clubhouse, but even I wasn't on Clubhouse because I have an Android. So, but that's like almost 10 years ago. So we're talking about, so now these are the children that y'all have created with this rhetoric. And I'm not speaking, when I say y'all, I'm not speaking to anybody that is here today, because I'm sure you do not take part into that type of rhetoric. But I mean to the people who do, to that young lady, this is why you have no wins. This is why as soon as you open your mouth and you say where you from, people already like, eh. Dead on that. Because of hearing things like this and not saying anything, or hearing things like this and thinking to ourselves, you know what, whatever. And then it's in addition to hearing things like that and then seeing people get into political positions to now spew that same rhetoric or close to that rhetoric, because, you know, they can't do the exact same thing, but something rhetoric that is anti-foundational Black American freedmen in the White House from the podium, much less from Senate floors or assembly floors or their offices or their main pages, or, you know what I'm saying, the Twitter pages. This is what, so when you combine those two, those people have created that monster of those haters. So you cannot poke the bear. And that same bear that Knowledge Born Alive was talking about, you cannot poke the bear. And then when the bear gives you the claws, get mad because you got the claws when you should have left the bear alone. And
you know, something else she said too, while Brother Devon comes back in. She said, Happy Black History Month to everybody except Black Americans. First of all,
it's about
say that again, sis.
It's about us. Black History Month is for us, by us. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
There are, you know why? There aren't Black History Months. And if they do have them, because some of them just adopted it, it is very, very new. You ain't been doing it since 1926. You ain't been having no foundation of no Black History Month since then. Why? Because some of you live in majority Black countries. So your Black history is just history. So you can't come from Africa and then talk about, oh, it's Black History Month. No, you have your history. It's called Sierra Leonean history. But here, because there are 2 Americas, count them, 2 Americas. People forget that. I can't even tell you how many times I've had to remind people of that. There are 2 Americas that happen simultaneously, and sometimes they intertwine. But there are 2 Americas here. And so in Black America, we have always celebrated it. And when people started threatening and saying, oh, the Republicans are going to take Black History Month, they can't take away what they never gave us. We built it. We celebrated it. Same thing with Juneteenth. You can't take it away because it was ours. You can't stop us from celebrating it. You can't stop us from liking it. You can't stop us from teaching us about our history. And that's what we do every Thursday at 8:00 on the bridge. Okay. Send those emails, god dang it.
Brother Devon, your thoughts.
So, you know, again, I don't need to put this claim on it because everybody knows who Jay-Z is and how we feel about him. But what I will say, even though we know Nas won with Ether, I'm still going to quote Takeover. And he said, yo, please leave it alone. Don't throw rocks at the throne. Don't bark up that tree because that tree will fall on you. And what they are starting to understand is that for so long, we gave them a pass. It was like, all right, little ninja, like, okay. You feeling yourself. You're getting a little bit too big for your britches, but okay, we got you. Now it's all bets are off. The gloves are off, right? And now it's like, y'all gonna understand why we're undefeated in this country. Like, y'all gonna really start to understand. No more, the passes are over. Those are gone. And so mind you, here's what we didn't hear though, right? We didn't hear a plethora of the Pan-Africans condemning her. Where are they? Where are the post tweeting and reposting that video and abhorring it and saying, "Oh man," and denouncing it and saying, "This is not what we do. This is not how we act. This is divisive." I'm not seeing any of that. And again, this is my problem with the religion of Pan-Africanism. At its core, the foundation of its doctrine is to allow and it encourages all kinds of disrespect to foundational Black Americans. Because deep down, we are supposed to be less than, and we are supposed to accept that positioning. We are supposed to be the lost Africans that don't have an identity and need to reconnect with home. That's who we're supposed to be. And as long as we play that position, all is well. Everybody's okay. It's all good. But we upset the social order. We kicked over the apple cart. And now you have individuals that are joking, quote unquote, about strapping bombs to their chest. Like, think about the psychosis. Think about the hatred and the disdain that we all have said we know that the diaspora has for us, but everybody tries to play us and make us look like we don't know what we talk about and that we stupid and that we don't know what we talk about. Think about what she said. She didn't say, "I'm going to plant a bomb." She said, "I'm going to strap it to me, and then I'm going to blow it up." You know what kind of hatred you got to have to be willing to take yourself out, to take out another people? And she said, I'm gonna do a service to mankind. I'm going to do everybody else a favor. This delineation movement, again, I consistently, quote and bring up my brother Cat Williams. He already said what was going to happen when he was on that Shannon Sharp interview. He said there's going to be revelations coming out. He said because there's only two sides. God's side and everybody else. I know what side we on. Everybody else got to pick and choose what side they on. And what we're finding out is the longer they talk, the more they share their heart, like we was in that space today and the other day. We're starting to see what side and whose side they really on. Because the last time I read the word, they said he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what I heard. That's what I think. So there's only one side trying to steal people's identity, talking about who they gonna kill, and who's trying to destroy somebody else's reputation based on slander and lies. And I'll leave it there.
Sister Marcia said they not in those spaces. The Pan-Africans, that is, but they are. They are.
I want to say that they are not. I want to say
trust this.
Because they come up against us.
We're there. So I'm telling you, we are there.
But so the
telling us about we're being divisive. And that what we're doing is that we should include them on our reparations claim, even though we have told them, even if we wanted to, we can't do it because it's unconstitutional and it would get struck down. Even though we told them that this is why DEI and affirmative action was struck down, they still telling us what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
So way back when the internet started popping off and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
and you would go to Pan-African groups,
mm-hmm.
These with quote unquote leaderships and stuff like that, they didn't want to participate in a Facebook, in a this. They came months and years later. I'm saying those of organizations are not in these spaces. I understand individuals are in spaces and claim that I am a Pan-African and I think like this. But I believe that these people that say those things are not in organizations or formative organizations. Because I know in my time of digital media that I would go to people and I would say, get on this, get on that. Oh no, sister, we can't do this. We not gonna participate in the man's exactly. And those people, we know, Sister Keisha, did not want to adopt technology. And with that, not adopting technology, they lost so many youth of a particular generation because people were like, we gotta be part of it. We gotta be part of what's happening now to discuss what we feel and think.
Right, I get
Like
you.
Sister Keisha sent me that video, and I said this person and anyone who thinks like her belongs in the hell that they are building. Because, like Brother Divine is saying, how dare you want to take out people for respecting their ancestors and not want to acknowledge the suffrage of people? And then think that you're better? There's nobody better in this society. And to sit there and say that you're better than another person, I do not agree. And those are my final thoughts on that topic.
I get you. And something you said too a minute ago, you know, these organizations, and that's and their apparatus and their idea on how they think, which is why they're dead. This is why Pan-Africanism is dead. In the trash cans forever. Because you refuse. You refuse to listen. You refuse to learn. You refuse to pivot. And since you can't do either of those, it's dead.
I won't say forever, but I will concur with you for right now. For right now, I pause. I won't say forever. I think there's opportunities to regain and build and understand other people's positions.
Right. They better get to it. They better get to it. Because the window is closing. You missed it with Gen X. You missed it with Millennial. The window is freaking closing. Knock it off. But
can I add something real quick to that?
Sure, brother. Go ahead.
Something that Brother Ron was talking about earlier is very out. When you look at Birth of a Nation from D.W. Griffith and that kind of work, those were the things that they continued on strips, or they called the funny section in the newspaper. And some of these caricatures that they're seeding instances, and I think we add in that regard when we do all of these skits and all of these reaction videos and all of this other stuff that's out there, and you thinking it's just jokes or it's just a prank or any of those things. There's a group of young people that live on these devices. So for a video like that to come out and to get as much steam that it did and to garner as much attention that it did, somebody let that through, right? We know who those somebodies are that let that kind of stuff through and then push that around. You understand? So for her to come out of somewhere with that kind of vitriol in a posture that's anti anything black, whether it's African or African American, is foolhardy to say, okay, I'm doing this for mankind. We know who man is and we know who mankind is too. So I'm just, adding a little layer of context in regards to what flag she's pledging allegiance to and who she's, seeking to get a quarter for. So whether she did that in a thing where she thought she was just going to go viral, just going to be some kind of joke that people recycled around or whatever the case may be, but there are very much a lot of sleeper cells that are active, that are being activated by some of these things in a Manchurian sort of fashion. So if we aren't repudiating these things and preparing ourselves and our children, if we don't have any discussions with any young people in the harmful effects of what you're transmitting out there on the internet and the physical, emotional, and spiritual ramifications of it, then we might have lost a little situation in this regard for this window. So I think we got to be a little more mindful of these sleeper cells, because some of these folks, for instance, that didn't even join these organizations, they did stuff and went and did it. They heard stuff and they went and did it. You see what I'm saying? So just being mindful in that space and being protective. And if you want to stand out here, understand when you're standing on, particular things, somebody coming to challenge you, and more so now than everything, they're doxing folks and all kinds of stuff with these kinds of ramifications. So just being mindful from a security, protective posture and situational awareness type of thing to add just that little additional context. Thank you, sister.
And I'm glad the team is on it, reaching out to her place in employment and where she lives, because that thing needs to be eradicated. Now I'm going to play this clip, and another mantra that's been going around, and I think Sister Farnessa ain't giving none of y'all no breaks. I'm going to tell y'all think Brooke is bad. Farnessa ain't playing with none of y'all. But destiny swapping. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. I'm going to play this clip. This will be our last clip for the night. And then we'll discuss it and close ourselves up out of here. Hold on.
Second question is, where did R&B originate from?
R&B?
America, of course.
Oh, I don't know about
Black
that.
American culture.
I'm gonna say Black American culture is
Absolutely.
West Africa. But you know about roots R&B? I think the roots came from somewhere in West Africa. And then taken out. If you want to go deep, because there's a difference between where it originated or where it got popular.
Thank you.
That's a difference.
That's my answer from here. Okay, she says here, he says Africa.
I'm gonna say West Africa.
I say Africa. I do.
Coming from an African R&B.
So, and she said something.
Drop some knowledge.
So if you
she said American.
If you check history, blues rap originated from Africa.
The sound or the genre?
Bro, the sound.
Hold on a second.
There's no genre without the sound.
Facts.
The sound is the genre.
I with that.
Yeah. So
okay.
it's slaves used to rap. They used to chant. Then it was a chant. They used to sing. So that's soul, blues.
Facts.
Originated from Africa.
So just because you gotta take it out the fact that they came to America, because that's what they like to take out of it. The fact that they came here as slaves, people forget the African descendants of it. They didn't just come to America and start developing slave songs. They came from Africa with the slave music they already had, and they brought it to here. So when people take about what makes it popular, it was popularized in America because they brought our ass here.
Makes sense.
If we never came here, it would only been the African.
I don't think that. I think what we are not differentiating is that it's morphed into something else.
Yeah.
So R&B became R&B. Yeah. And what we know as R&B, that's Black American music that we are now infusing in our Afrobeats today.
Facts.
But the question is, where's the origin?
The origin is the origin was not in the question, though.
Was it not?
Where did R&B originate from? And you said it. Africa.
That's my answer.
That's your answer.
My answer.
Now, where did it become popular?
Oh, are we going to get the answer? Okay, so the second.
So, I'm going to take your thoughts on that, and we'll get the people up out of here. But this is what the hell is going on here. And this is not just a one-off. There are hundreds of these conversations. And I know some of y'all are not in these spaces, but you should. So you'll see what's really going on. You can't close your eyes to that, because these things go viral. And if you don't have an antidote to it, it becomes even more problematic. We'll start with Sister Marcia, and then Knowledge Born, and then Brother Black, and we'll rock out with the crew. Go ahead, Sister Marcia.
It absolutely did not come or came. It is original from the America, and people did not come or came to America. They were stolen, they were captives, and were taken to America. So my continental people, and I've worked with them and their ideology of what happened to folks 200 years ago, 300 years ago, however we want to define it, is very problematic because there's never been a real good conversation about how people were stolen as prisoners of war. And we are constantly in a war, and we are in a war amongst ourselves. I want to say thank you to the family for bearing with me with my technology issues today. I don't know what's up with my Bluetooth. My keyboard died, my mouse died, everything died. So I'm on the phone, which keeps dying. Needless to say, may time flourish for us all. And if it may not, fight with that BI and make it flourish, because it is up to us to create the destinies for the future generations. And let us always think of the children, because they are the ones that's going to maintain a society that we build for them. And let us build a great society where they can stand tall and proud on the soldiers of our generations and the generations before us. So with that said, thank you, Third Black Talk. Thank you to the chat. Like, subscribe, and do all of those things to keep the algorithm up. Brother Allah?
I was all in the zone. I'm like, I gotta follow that now. Oh man, this remind me of the Black Muslims in America that be going back and forth with the Arabs, but then they be kind of kowtowing and shuddering when they come around. You understand what I'm saying? Like that kind of differentiation becomes something necessary, right? So you got this Black woman in the center of all of this chaos that's going on, where people try to act like they sounding like they know what they're talking about, and they don't know. So everybody's pushing these things around. So they agreed Black American, and then as they started pledge allegiance to their flag, it went back to this place right here. I'll say this very quick. The term selling your soul came from the Zionists that were in the South, in the Mississippi Delta region, that were taking advantage of and capitalizing off of what they call bootlegging, right? Bootlegging was the alcohol into the juke joints, right? So the juke joints, the entertainers were following the juke joints through the Delta, and the Zionists were supplying the ability for them to be able to move around down there. So they came with the talent and came with the women. So after prohibition in that space, something happened where which they started stealing intellectual property in the form of these contracts. So selling your soul meant signing a contract and your intellectual rights and property into perpetuity via these contracts. So they paid you a couple of dollars. They showed it in that movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Oh, this man will sing you some money to sing into his can. You understand what I'm saying? So that kind of little thing that they showed in regards to what they did to many of the blues singers who toured and fed their families off of the Delta and to so many places within the South and up north. You understand what I'm saying? So this is a lack of knowledge situation in this regard, where now you got a total memory wipe or never even had any access to any of this kind of genetic information. So you're espousing things based off of who you are versus what the real deal is. So the necessity for us to be able to have these discussions and these builds around this, to be able to make a lot of these things plain, is one thing, because when it's on the internet, it's real. You understand what I'm saying? When it's on the internet, whether it's true or not, when it's on the internet, it's real, because most of the people live in these spaces. They live for these spaces. So we got to correct the large language models into many of these things, and the importance of sharing our story and telling our story becomes of vital importance in that regard. Thank y'all for allowing me to come on here tonight and be on the Brooklyn Bridge with the Thurwoods with they black talk. You understand what I'm saying? Honest to everybody, honest to my family, honest to my brothers and my sisters. And I'm in the same fight with y'all. 10 toes.
Peace, brother. Knowledge born Allah. I didn't get to greet you earlier. I didn't want to cut your wisdom. Peace to you and yours. Once again, I have his book, his ebook, very interactive. And I'm co-signing right now. I suggest y'all go take a look at it and copy it if you can, and show that brother some love. So, from us at TBT to you and yours, one love. Insofar as that last video, which is hateful, and I'm hating that people could even say some shit like that, even if they were playing. Because she said it like, with a smile, like it's funny and all this. And she sound like she live in America. She don't have a British or any other kind of accent. She sound like a regular African American. So I have to assume she's in the United States. Start getting on some hateration shit and do some legal shit. Snitch on her, get her account banned, and, let her come around as a ghost next time. So she got to build her back up. You know what I'm saying? It's legal. There's nothing wrong with it. She making, like Sister Brooks said, terroristic threats. That's a real crime. You get time for that. That's not something. It's like talking about the president out of pocket. You can't talk about the president too long out of pocket. See, Secret Service don't come knock on your door at least to check on you to say, okay, what did you say an hour ago on that line you just put out? So it is what it is. But in regards to the last video, the very last video with the group of young Africans talking about R&B started in Africa, and I'm gonna get in trouble with Tad right now. That's like saying anybody anywhere outside of the Bronx invented hip hop. I don't care where they from. You know what I'm saying? Including some of y'all finest in Brooklyn. So
good night, Black.
It is. It's gonna continue.
Good night.
What's that, brother?
Good night.
I knew Brother Tad was going to be the only one to respond. That's why I called him out first. But seriously, I look at the African American writ large like I look at myself. I'm the best at almost everything I do, and I'm not knocking nobody here and saying I'm better than y'all at everything y'all do. I'm talking about me, for me. And when you're the best, everybody just want to knock you down. That's why I'm a targeted individual. And the reason why a lot of people target y'all is because y'all the best at everything y'all do. Starting music, crafts, styles, clothes we wear, the things we do, and how we talk, but imitated everywhere in the world. I've been a lot of them places, so I know what I'm telling y'all. You know what I'm saying? People getting tans and, spiking their hair so it look like ours and stuff like that. And it's going to continue. So like I've been saying this for a while, and maybe some of y'all agree, maybe some of y'all won't, but I've been saying this for a while. Just like how everybody want to be what's his name? Tariq and brother Professor Black Thought and all them people like that. Everybody want to be white adjacent because they know they can't be white, especially Asian people and people that are definitely not just white in color. Everybody soon, once that flash come and everything fifth dimension, everybody gonna want to be black. You're gonna need melanin to stay in the sun. We going into a different zone, and y'all know that I used to talk about this stuff more or less 3 or 4 years ago. I kind of stopped because, but it's formulating now. So here we go. So again, Melanin Institute blog. Yeah, Melanin Institute.blog. Catch me at
It's in the description.
melaninstitute.blogspot.com.
It's in the description, brother. It's in the description.
Oh, okay.
That's why y'all gotta read
And my
the
books,
description. To you and Marcia, y'all gotta read the descriptions, watch the playback, and watch the comments too. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, brother Devon.
Man, this has been one night of just full circle moments and confirmation. So I was unsure whether I wanted to go here or not, but I'm gonna take that video as confirmation of me saying everything that I gotta say. I'm gonna put maybe a couple of disclaimers on it, because we got a guest, so I want to make sure I speak, correctly but plainly, because I gotta do it how I do it. I know Sister Marcia is not here with us currently, but I want to just say she was in error when she said that they are not in these spaces. See, that would fly if we were in spaces online and offline. Least we forget, at the Caribbean corner on Utica Avenue, that was a Pan-African space. And they started that space with misinformation about foundational Black Americans and how we were working for the CIA and or other government operations. And they were 100% okay. Like the video we just saw, like I said, that's why I knew I had to go here full circle. They were more than willing to have a conversation about us without us. And that's how their conversations sound when we're not in the room. Like that video that Sister Keisha just played. It becomes an echo chamber of confusion and absolute downright ridiculousness that don't make sense. If anybody with sense heard what they were saying. And those are the conversations that don't even take place with somebody that got some sense is in the building. Because when we was in the building, we stopped all that shit that video turned into. And this is what happens in their spaces. So I got to push back on you, and I'll give you two organizations, because you said anybody in the organization is not in these spaces. And that in-person space had people from the Uhuru movement.
Mm-hmm.
And this organization called Bantu. That's why I was off camera, because I was like, when she said that, I was like, let me look up, because I got some emails that came from them. So the Bantu organization and the Uhuru movement are two Pan-African organizations that were trafficking in the same type of vitriolic talking points and dangerous rhetoric as that young sister. Another point that I'm making is that age, similar to the white supremacists. We thought for a long time, or at least some people thought this, as soon as all the old races die off, then we're going to be better off. We're going to have a good society at that point. Even though, no shade, no tea, but even though that weight on that sister made her look like she was 35, she looked like she's somewhere around 25. And so that is a young xenophobic Pan-African sister. That's a young sister. She got many years of hating foundation Black Americans ahead of her based on natural causes. And so we got to understand the same way it's not going to die off in these white supremacists, it's not going to die off in these xenophobic Pan-Africans either, foreign or domestic. And so that's why we're here, to stand in the gap and make sure that we are here to thwart them at every turn. And we're building up our own army of youngsters to make sure at every turn they try to have those same conversations about us, without us, one of us is going to be in there with this thorough energy, you heard? And that's who is going to be the people that stop the bullshit that's going on, because when we're not there, we see that it runs wild. I also want to talk about this concept, right? That kind of adjacent to that. And Sister Keisha taught us that the foundation of Arturo Schomburg was our brother John and was Bruce. And so in the same way that they give credit to Schomburg, is the same way they gave credit to Elvis, and it's the same way they try to give credit to Kool Herc. Just because you have an Afro immigrant that emulates foundational Black American culture does not mean that magically becomes your culture all of a sudden. That is not how it works. We are in a system of white supremacy that has always found Black American culture more palatable when it comes from somebody that's not us. And if they can find somebody that kind of looks like us, but that's not us, that's icing on the cake. Because there's a foundational Black American behind Schomburg, Kool Herc, and Elvis that we know created the genres that they get credit for. So that's my second point. I want to land on this. And again, I want to, this disclaimer I was going to talk about, no shade to the brother. I want everybody to support this brother's work and get those ebooks if it is so on your heart. But I had to say this because the whole time I was looking at the book and how powerful and beautiful they were, all I could think about is what happens when we have those same mediums that are foundational Black American centric. What happens when we have the media that centers our story? So that instead of a Marcus Garvey or even a Martin Delaney, we got a Charles Caldwell Center or a Charles Caldwell program that teaches about bravery and or how to stand on business. See, this is what we got to start doing. For too long, our culture, which lends itself to that video, has been rooted in some level of Afrocentrism, meaning African centrism. And so as long as we continue to stay on that path, will we continue to say, oh no, we're strong because of that, and not because of what we built and created here, we're always going to have them be able to say, oh, it originated here, it got real popular here, but remember, listen, somewhere on the African continent, somebody was playing a banjo in the bush. So every genre of music that they created comes from us. They're going to always be able to run that play as long as we center our history and run it through their lens. We got to change that in real time currently. And I was thinking about, we watched this documentary, Clotilde, on Disney Channel. And it was about the descendants of Cujo Lewis, one of the last continental Africans that was kidnapped and sold by other continental Africans. And when his ancestors went there for justice, the descendants of the king that sold and captured and sold his ancestors, they laughed in their face and made them feel like trash for even coming there expecting that there was going to be some type of camaraderie or an apology from them. They had to force them to even admit that, yeah, we did sell those other slaves and we did sell your ancestor. They had to force them to say it. So we're going to also need foundational Black American mediums like documentaries and things of that nature. And I'll land on this because after I watched Clotilde, I watched the latest stand-up comedy show. I can't
barely hear you, Brother Divine.
Let me do this.
Yeah, your mic.
How's the mic now? Same or different?
Same.
Same? All right, hold on 1 second. Let me see.
It's like the bass is going out your voice or something.
Okay.
He probably got a phone call.
Did,
you know, when you get the phone call, they knock your sound out.
How about now? Better, worse, the same?
Same.
Same. Oh, shoot.
We can hear you, though.
You can still hear me?
Yeah.
All right, it's going to be baseless. My bad. I'm landing here anyway. I watched the Cat Williams' latest episode, his latest stand-up special. And he said in there that a name change could change everything. And he talked about how you look at all the herbs and spices in your cabinet, paprika doesn't exist. He said, because paprika ain't nothing but crushed up red peppers. When they crushed up those red peppers, they gave it a brand new name. And everybody used paprika and everything. And I'm letting y'all know that that's the same thing that's happening with foundational Black Americans, except it's going in reverse. They tried to crush us up and make us all African Americans. The genetic profile foundation Black Americans, whether you like it or not, is an amalgamation of the various tribes from the African continent, various tribes from the European continent, and various tribes from the North American continent. It don't matter if you like it or not, that's what it is. And so everything we created in that amalgamation is solely us, because you can't find our genetic profile anywhere else on the planet. So we went from crushed paprika back to the red bell peppers that we are. And we put a new name on it. It's called Foundational Black American. And you either gonna respect it, get out, or lay down. Because there's nothing that you're gonna do to send us back on the shelves of paprika, no matter how much you whine, cry, or complain about it. Now land there. Thank you for the time.
Words life, bro. Thank you. Thank you for that, brother. Thank you.
Sister
Can I say
Brooke.
something for?
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Brother Divine, if y'all want to collaborate with me and I can show y'all, ain't no gatekeeping over here. If y'all want to come out with foundational Black American propaganda, get with me. Same way I did mine, I can help you do yours. That very simple. Very simple.
Also, let him know about the other volumes that he didn't see that does focus on FBA when it comes to STEM and other things as well.
Just send them to him. You know what I'm saying? And we can build and we can get together and see how to make this work.
I'll send it to you, Divine.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Sister Brooke.
All right. I got you know me and my notes. One, I'm gonna go all the way back to when we were talking about when we were in that space earlier today. One of the things that this Bayesian lady came on there, and she said back home, talking about her home in Barbados, that their government is fighting for reparations, but they no business with that. The regular people on the ground, no business with that. That's what she said. That's a quote. Okay. So you're not fighting for reparations where you're from. That's your business. I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not do. But don't come here and make our reparations your business, because back home, you're no business with that. So don't come over here and business with ours. And that's something I think that was very, very important that she said, right? Then when it comes to us, people talking about our name change, the foundational Black Americans. I've said this in one of my testimonies at the hearings. The fact that people will not allow us or have the refusal to call us by our name is giving white supremacist Cassius Clay energy. When Muhammad Ali changed his name, it is only now that white people will call him by his correct name. Because when he changed his name and said, my name is Cassius Clay, my name is Muhammad Ali, it is no longer Cassius Clay, they refused to call him by his name. So once again, we have the parallel of Pan-Africanism, paralleled doing the same white supremacist tactics as white supremacy. In this country, at least. I can't talk about too many others because I'm no business with that. Okay. I also wanted to talk about how in that space they said a Jamaican gentleman came up and he said that if Africa doesn't get reparations, then we shouldn't get reparations. So again, this points to the fact that there are people in the diaspora who are willing to hold our reparations as hostage until they get theirs, not work alongside us, because President Divine said we could work together. You work on yours, I work on mine, but they are separate claims. You cannot put them together. And no, that's not what they want. They want to hold ours hostage. And I will also add the fact that we pointed out that this is nothing new to us, because President Divine was told by the political representation here in New York that if the Caribbeans don't get a piece, that they would never, ever, ever stand with us on our reparations claim, in our birthright and what we are owed by giving our free labor to this country. Okay. Then you said something, Knowledge Born Allah, that kind of touched my soul, because I said something today and I didn't really realize what I was saying, but now I am keenly aware that was the ancestors speaking through me. You said that when you say boots on the ground, that you are talking about the deaths, that you're speaking on the deaths that could happen or that they are assuming will happen. Somebody said that we were boots on the ground, and today, for the first time, I changed that from boots on the ground because, I'm from Brooklyn. So I said, well, we got our Timbs on their neck. And I think that's how we should do it from now on. We ain't boots on the ground, we Timbs on the neck. Okay. And so when you said that to me, that really hit me in my heart, because I was like, wow, today I heard you say it. And earlier today, I said that for the first time. So that was something that really touched my soul. And I just wanted to let you know, Knowledge Born. Then we getting into R&B music. First of all, some of the things that people forget about R&B music is the actual music, the instruments that were used, okay? They do not have a drum set in Africa. The drum set was created and invented here in America by foundational Black Americans. I learned that from Dewan B. Okay, I listen to Dewan V very, very often because I'm very, very into music, and I like to learn the history of it. So there would be no R&B without the drum set. There would be no any form of American music without the drum set. Without the drum set, it would be just those hand drums. But that's not what American music is based on. It is based on the drum set. Then we could go into hip hop was based on funk music, something that was created with the American guitar. And the bass guitar, which the electric guitar, which was also created by a foundation of Black American. You can't do on the guitar from Africa, from the African banjo. You can't do that. That wah 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 sound that they be making. You can't do that without the inventions that we created in this country. So stop the bullshit. Then, how dare the group of people who sold us into slavery ever think for one freaking second that you're going to take credit for what we have done? How dare the unmitigated gall of you to sell your own and then try to hop on the accomplishments that we were able to attain regardless of what you did for us, of what you meant for us. You meant evil for us. Evil. You meant evil for us because you knew what you were selling us into. You knew. Don't act like you ain't know. You knew who you were selling us to. And that's where I have to correct. Sister Marcy is always talking about kidnapping. Ain't nobody kidnapped.
That's what Chancellor Williams said. Sold. Go ahead.
They sold us. Okay, now they may have kidnapped us from other Africans, the Africans, but no white folks kidnapped a daggone thing. They came over here and did a business deal. They came over there and did a business deal with those Africans and bought them fair and square. Okay, it was an even trade. You give me cowrie shells and mirrors and bottles, and I'll give you human beings. This is what they said. This is what they tell us. Those are my words. That's what they say at the slave dungeons. 10 human beings for a bottle. 20 human beings for an umbrella. So how dare you then try to hop on board of the accomplishment of the people that you sold for evil? God was good to us. You did voodoo on us to make sure that that our souls faced evil. And then you want to take credit for what we have done, what we literally pulled up out the mud? Not on my fucking watch. Then somebody in the chat said, somebody was talking about what would it look like if they were to be, if other nationalities of Black people would be in charge here. Well, we see what that already looks like, because we had a camaraderie with the Caribbeans and the Africans because we saw y'all as brothers and sisters, as cousins, as family members, because y'all shared our hue of melanin. Right? Because Sister Keisha already told us everybody got melanin. Because you shared our hue of melanin. And then what happens is when we look at it as, okay, I'm just going to vote for whoever's Black, right? whoever's black, I'm just going to vote for them. Then we vote for whoever's black. Those very same black people have more of a camaraderie with the Hispanic white because of immigration, because they see them all themselves as all as immigrants. And then by them welcoming the Hispanic whites, that in turn brings in gentrification, because Hispanic whites have more of a camaraderie. They have less of camaraderie with the African and Caribbean immigrants than they do with white people. They want to be white. So you see the chain here. So then the Hispanics then bring in the white people because that's what they want to be. So we already know what it would be like if we were to not be here to fight the chain, and no one would fight the white supremacists. Everybody is fighting to get, and isn't that interesting that they keep telling us that we're fighting to be next to them when all we've ever done was try to get away from them. That's why they came to our neighborhoods and blew them up. Because we went way far away, way to Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma? Am I getting the state right? Just make sure. We went far away in the middle of nowhere, where the white folks thought it was nowhere, and made Black Wall Streets. We went in the swamps. We went where we thought they would not come. And once they set foot in there and saw how boiling we was doing it, how we were making it, even then, we could even talk about the projects. You put us in this place, but then when you see the talent that was coming out of there, you see how we would take nothing and make it into something coming out of there. Then now all of a sudden you even gentrifying the project. So we don't have an infatuation of getting up under the white people. We are constantly trying to get away from them, but they are always trying to figure out what the heck are we doing. You are the one who renounced your homeland, sometimes give up your citizenship. You got down on your knees and you put your hand over your heart and you said, I pledge allegiance to this new nation. I pledge allegiance in my life, but I could go, I don't have to pledge allegiance. I could get down on the knee. I could do whatever I want. Whether I pledge allegiance or not, that don't make it, you can't take my citizenship away. So I've never had to renounce my people or my country to be here. But you did. So don't dare tell me that I want to be next to white folks when you renounced all to be over here with them. Now, couple last things. I'm wrapping it up. I swear to God. I said that hip hop was already a foundation. I already went into that. Hip hop being a foundational Black American creation because it was based on funk music. It was based on James Brown. Now, Brother Black, I see you went to Black, but I'm just
wait, not just James Brown, the funky drummer, Clyde Stubblefoot. You gotta give it up to Clyde.
Was either one from the Bronx?
I don't know.
No, they were not. They were not from the Bronx. So they weren't taking Bronx artists and looping them. They were taking foundational Black American artists from all over the country, their music, and looping it. So it is a foundational Black American. Now, the conditions may have been in New York because we didn't have that many inside spaces. We had to kind of, you know what I'm saying? And plus, they wouldn't let us into the clubs. They wouldn't let the kids into the clubs. They wouldn't.
Tennessee. He was born in Tennessee. Clyde Stubblefield.
I knew it wasn't the Bronx. I knew that.
The funky drummer. When James Brown said, Clyde, the funky drummer, that's who you're talking to.
Get a drummer some.
That's right.
Okay. So it was foundational Black American music that was coming from all over that was used in those loops that Kool Herc was playing. Okay. Now, President Devine.
That's not what hip hop is, bro.
You can't have hip hop without the music. You can't have hip-hop without
Black,
music.
stay on mute.
Hip-hop
Black,
is
black,
all-
black, black, black. Let her get it out, please. Let her get it out. Let her get it out.
Now I'm gonna hit that last point. Sorry, I got two more.
Yeah, because
President Devine said something. President Devine said something that was so powerful, and I don't even think he realized what he said. He said that it was Sumner Avenue, right? Sumner Avenue was renamed Marcus Garvey Boulevard. Yo, think about that. They took the name of a man who actually fought for us to have the rights that we have, and replaced him with someone who was not us, who fought and sided with the Ku Klux Klan against us. Think about that. Think about that. So now they got us praising Marcus Garvey Boulevard, happy for Marcus Garvey Boulevard, not knowing that we took down a person who actually did for us. That's some deep stuff right there. Because they could have picked anybody else. How come they didn't pick Lyndon? How come they didn't pick one of the slave owners? They didn't pick one of the slave owners' names to take down. They took down somebody who actually fought for us and put up somebody who tried to get us to move to Africa. Ain't that a... And this is my last point. When President Devine said to me that thing about the peppers, right? I already knew, I already knew that paprika was whatchamacallit, and it was a name change. And I said to him, look at what we have done with a name change. Look at all we have accomplished thus far since our name change. We were at a crossroads. Foundational Black Americans. We were at a crossroads. And this side, at the center of the crossroads was Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson said, if you go this way and remain as African Americans, there is no future for you. But if you go this way and forge your own path and create your own name, you will live. And that's where we are. And we have taken the foundational Black American / freedman route. And we have changed the course of future. We have forged a new future for ourselves on this land. One that nobody can take away from us. One that nobody can squash. Is moving too fast and it's too strong. One that no matter the opposition, it's happening anyway. We have done all of that just with a name change. And I want us to realize how powerful we are. Since we have started this email campaign, we have gotten 4 assembly people, 2 senators. We out here boots on the neck. And we couldn't have done that without your help, without you sending the emails, without you getting your mama to send emails, without you getting your daddy to send emails, without you getting your cousins to send emails. We couldn't have done that without you. And contrary to what a young lady said today, whatever happens in New York, because our bill is so tight legally, you can just copy and paste it in your state. We will be able to copy and paste it federally. So you keep sending those emails because we will win. It ain't over till we win. We will get delineation. It takes 15 seconds per email. There's 5 of them there. Send the emails on the unconstitutional bill. Send the emails on delineation and disaggregation because as you can see, it is necessary. We have to know who we are, where we are, how many of us are there, and understand we're going to get reparations. But the delineation is not just for reparations. Any kind of set-asides that we want, we will now be able to get because we will have our name. A name that nobody can take from us, can co-opt from us, can pull the rug up underneath from us. And that is why this is so important. So send those emails, send those emails, send those emails. bit.ly/BREUCK call to action. Thank you.
We gotta get Brother Tad to bed. We gotta get him to bed.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm an old man. But what can I say that hasn't been said tonight? I definitely appreciate everybody that tapped in with us. You know, definitely appreciate the panel. My brother Black, brother Divine, Sister Brooke, Knowledge Born, our sister Marcia, and Sister K Fighter. You know how we do. My sister from another mister. But family, hopefully you inspired by something you heard here tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. Don't forget to tune into the OG Wisdom podcast. We're doing about 3-4 times a week. We're trying to do it every day. It's taxing. I'm an old man. However, be on the lookout for my new endeavor, Tad Talks, and me and Doggy have some collaborations coming up, so keep an eye out for that. And we want y'all really to get involved. Just don't take this as thumbing our nose at the Caribbeans or the continental Africans, but really take this information and move forward and pass it on to the children so they don't get lost in this sea of rhetoric. You know, we're in an information age and our folks are being bombarded. I'm watching old fools and young fools alike still regurgitating antiquated rhetoric. What does that mean? Just parroting old shit. That's all it means. Just parroting old shit. But there's a new day and age. There's a new paradigm. It's a new movement that's reemerging. Foundational Black Americans. We are proud of who we are. Just as you should be proud of who you are if you're not a foundational Black American. This ain't so much as about hating on y'all like y'all hate on us. However, this is about you being in the way while we're doing what's in our best interest, and we don't take kindly to that. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay true, and remember, no matter how hard things seem right now, there's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
I let my brother go to sleep because it's past his bedtime. Y'all don't know Tad like that, just way past his bedtime. He supposed to be asleep.
I'll be up at 4 o'clock. So yeah, and I like my 8 hours. So yeah.
Sister Brooke, I will catch you on the other side because I know you're going to be in these lives tonight. It's on and popping. It's on and popping. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like Tad said, there's nothing left to say. But we'll close out with this as we get ready for next week. As Sister Brooke said,
Clotilda.
Not trafficking. Yes. Kidnap. No. Sold. Yes. And listen to this sister's story. And then you can watch the whole documentary on whatever streaming platform you have.
Disney Channel.
Disney Channel? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But let's listen, and y'all have a good rest of the week. Be safe. Keep your head on the swivel. Don't get caught up in the nonsense.
Was like
The king of Abomey.
Because the king had such a good relationship with the Europeans, did he know what European slavery was like?
The king of Abomey never sold people as a slave. Those men and women travel to America to work with those Europeans, and they want to have good relationship with those Europeans. So if today we talk about slavery, it's to show the negative parts of the kingdom of Abomey. But that is not right. It is wrong. So this is the fact.
Is the king saying the fact is that my ancestor was not sold into slavery?
Okay, they can say that they never sold people.
Because my ancestor, Kosolo, told his children and his children's children, and he did not go willingly. To say that Africans were not sold into slavery is not only false, but it makes it seem as though he thinks I'm foolish. I feel very much so mocked by the laughter, and that got me even more enraged to the point to where I wanted to get up and walk away.
I was stunned. Do you know we lost relatives, and for you to sit here and deny it, it was shocking to me.
I didn't want the conversation to go where it was going. I just didn't want nobody to be hurt. He's not going to say that his family was part of the illegal slave trade. I don't expect for him to say that he's wrong.
And that's the problem. Laughing and she's telling you her truth. Like I said, with my ancestor, when we did our research, and I have a copy of that receipt of him being sold, not stolen. I feel her pain. I feel her pain. And we got to tell the truth, not what makes us feel good. So with that said, get ready for more Black History next week. It's going down. Tell somebody to tell somebody every Thursday. Up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Good night, y'all. We are out.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight. Voices strong, knowledge tight. Thorough black talk in the air. Changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister K. Warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat. Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power Media on the spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned. Free from every bind. Social talk and politics. Every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true. For the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in. Social talk and politics. Every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true. For the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly